Chapter 976. Amidst the excruciating pain, Bloodskull seemed to have lost his mind. He started to attack wildly, and countless white bones pierced out from the ground. He wanted to kill Ling Xiao, but these white bones had implicated the innocent. Many martial artists near the stage were caught off guard and were pierced by the white bones. They were instantly burned to ashes by the blood-red flames. Die! 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 The white bones continued to pierce out crazily, and countless martial artists fled in panic, leaving the stage. However, Ling Xiao, who bore the brunt of the attack, was unharmed. His black and white wings spread out behind him, and he flew into the air, dodging all the white bones. So what if you can fly? In the past month, I've already found a way to restrain your movement skill. Half of Bloodskull's body was still bleeding, but he seemed to have regained his consciousness. He stopped wasting his heavenly yuan qi and took out a strange bone from his pocket. This is a magical treasure that I spent a lot of money to refine, the bone cage. After he finished speaking, he threw the white bone into the air. In an instant, the entire stage was enveloped by the white bone cage. Moreover, the white bone cage was still shrinking, and it was almost flat. It was only about 4 meters high, just enough for Bloodskull to stand on. Ling Xiao wanted to use his movement skill to move, but he couldn't. Die. In the bone cage, you have no freedom. You can only be killed by me. The blood on half of Bloodskull's body gradually coagulated, and the wound gradually healed. Although it was unlikely that the wound would grow back, it was unlikely that he would die from excessive bleeding. He now had control of the entire stage, and Ling Xiao was completely suppressed. This change is really fast. Ling Xiao had the upper hand a moment ago, and now Bloodskull has the upper hand. Yeah, if it weren't for the innocent people who died, today's battle would have been really enjoyable. Now I hope that Ling Xiao kills Bloodskull. You guys can fight among yourselves. How can you implicate the innocent? Hateful. That's right. Bloodskull is such a bastard. Among the spectators, the number of people supporting Ling Xiao gradually increased. Although this kind of support was temporarily useless and meaningless, as long as this voice could be spread, Ling Xiao could more easily realize his dream of human revival. Movement technique? Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, "If I told you that I don't have any movement techniques at all right now, and I'm just relying on the speed of my body, would you believe me?" Ever since his movement technique had been sealed, Ling Xiao had only relied on the speed of his physical body and the mutated black and white wings. To be misunderstood by others as having superior movement techniques was really a little helpless. He, I don't care if it's your movement technique or your own speed. You're going to die today. The Bloodskull let out a cold laugh as he manipulated the bones on the ground to form a huge bone spear. Then he pointed it at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao tried to dodge, but his feet were entangled by soft bones and he couldn't move at all. "Master!" Cold Plum got anxious and stood up from her seat. Lan Yu, Dai Yuling Long Chen, Zhao Ji, and the others also stood up. Even if they had to break the rules, they couldn't just stand by and watch Ling Xiao get killed. This brat has made a group of good friends who value friendship and righteousness. However, it's a pity that he's still weaker than the Bloodskull in terms of strength. Although it's tragic to die like this, it's not worth it. With his potential, it should be easy for him to surpass the Bloodskull in the future. Below the stage, many experts shook their heads and sighed. They felt sad for Ling Xiao's fate. "Sit down." Ling Xiao shouted loudly, "I know you care about me, but if I'm killed by such a shameless bastard, I don't deserve to be called the Heavenly Dragon Continent's chosen son." Everyone had to take responsibility for what they did. Naturally, Ling Xiao was the same. From the day he provoked the Bloodskull, he knew that this day would come. Therefore, even if he died here, he wouldn't regret it. He also wouldn't drag his friends down with him. Cold Plum and the others didn't sit down. They didn't care whether Ling Xiao had a backbone or not. They just wanted to see a living person. I won't die. Ling Xiao's voice became indifferent. Although he was surrounded by the white bone cage and looked like he was in danger, he still stood there. However, his tiny figure suddenly looked so tall, so confident, and so majestic. What joy is there in life? What fear is there in death? I, Ling Xiao, will live as a hero and die as a hero. There's nothing to sigh about. Ling Xiao's voice was filled with determination. Moreover, he doesn't have the ability to kill me. Good man. Live as a hero and die as a hero. What courage! Perhaps only this kind of courage can make him do so many earth-shattering things. This battle was very difficult. The light and shadow divine all couldn't kill his opponent. He couldn't use his speed and flying skills. Even the void shadow crocodile couldn't completely defeat the blood skull. For Ling Xiao, this wasn't a good thing. Although he had a fusion skill, which was the combination of the void shadow crocodile and the golden crow soaring sun, he hadn't used this skill in actual combat. In other words, even he didn't know what kind of effect it would have. If this move also failed, then he would really be at his wit's end. Unless he made another breakthrough at this critical moment, it was very likely that he would really be facing death. He took a deep breath. Ling Xiao retracted the eyes of the world. He wanted to use this last move with all his strength. There couldn't be any distraction. Whether he lived or died, it all depended on the power of this attack. In the mountain river world, in the boundless universe, a red sun hung high in the sky, a huge golden crow hovered in the universe, and a pitch-black shadow crocodile was nearby. The golden crow and the shadow crocodile confronted each other. Light and shadow began to partially merge. A blurry scene appeared in the universe. What was that? Ling Xiao tried his best to use his soul force to take a look, but all he saw was an illusory image that couldn't be seen clearly. It was something produced after the fusion of the golden crow and the shadow crocodile. Although he couldn't see it clearly, Ling Xiao could feel the terrifying power of this illusory image. Domineering, ferocious, noble, supreme. This was a real beast. This newly born thing was definitely not as simple as 1 + 1. Just like the power of the divine, all of light and shadow far exceeded that of the crimson sun, all, and the shadow all. This new thing was more powerful than the golden crow and the shadow crocodile, and more terrifying than the two moves. A will to destroy everything. Was this the upgraded version of the destructive will? Ling Xiao didn't know, and it was hard to describe, but he could see that this illusory image had a terrifying power and that could destroy everything. This was very similar to his destruction sword intent, but it was more domineering. Destruction and destruction had similar meanings, but the degree was completely different. Ling Xiao originally only wanted to fuse a new move, but he didn't expect that an invisible beast illusory image would be able to give him such a huge upgrade. It actually directly upgraded the destruction sword intent to destruction sword intent. Chapter 977. This ferocious beast was born from destruction, and it fought to destroy everything. What kind of monster was this? Now, I just have to do my best to defend against the opponent's attacks and execute this move perfectly. If I can truly comprehend this move, I will definitely be able to control the power of destruction. Then dealing with the blood skull will be as easy as flipping my hand. Ling Xiao's previous fusion moves were only superficial. Although they were powerful, they might not be able to defeat Blood Skull's skeleton battle body. Therefore, he didn't plan to attack rashly. He wanted to perfect this move. All of this seemed to take a long time, but in fact it only took a moment, just a thought from Ling Xiao. He suddenly swallowed a handful of heavenly spirit divine pills. These were pills that others would pay a high price for, but he ate them like they were beans. Then, Ling Xiao stood there motionless. A layer of perfect armor gradually appeared on his body. After the fusion of the Scarlet Sun feather coat and the shadow armor, the light shadow battle armor was born. After all, this was the first skill of the light shadow profound art. so it was relatively easy to fuse them. Ling Xiao had already done it perfectly. The Scarlet Sun feather coat certainly couldn't block Bloodskull's attacks, but the light shadow battle armor could at least buy some time. Is that a new move? It's useless. I can see that Ling Xiao has already displayed all his offensive abilities. All he can do now is buy time. How do you know it's useless? He hasn't given up yet. Yes, he hasn't given up, so it's not over yet. This is a life or death battle. As long as he doesn't die, it's not over yet. Boom! A powerful fighting spirit suddenly burst out from Ling Xiao's body, almost piercing the sky and breaking the darkness of the night. The originally dim square was lit up again. Although cultivators didn't care much about the night, let alone Heaven Realm cultivators. Even Transcendent Realm cultivators could use their internal force to enhance their vision. However, light was something that all living beings liked. What a powerful fighting spirit. This Ling Xiao is really not to be trifled with. I think he's just putting up a desperate struggle and overestimating himself. Is that so? How about we make a bet? One of them was the young master of the Divine Phoenix Auction House, Feng Mingwishan, and the other was the female boss of the Heavenly Dragon Auction House, Yunya. Yunya naturally supported Ling Xiao. Phoenix Cry Wushan was more optimistic about the Bloodskull. Okay, let's bet. How would you like to bet, Princess Yunya? It's very simple. If I win, your Divine Phoenix Auction House will give up on the public auction of human slaves. Yunya said with a smile. That won't do. Are you scared? I'm not afraid. I'm only the young master of the Divine Phoenix Auction House, not the person in charge. Whether this matter is valid or not, it's up to the Emperor to decide. Therefore, Princess Yunya should raise other conditions. Feng Ming Wushan shook his head. All right, then I'll take a step back. If I win, all the human slaves in the Divine Phoenix Auction House will belong to me. How about that? Yunya said again. Don't say that you can't make the decision. If you don't dare to bet, you can say so. Anyway, we're just playing. It shows that you still don't have much confidence in the Bloodskull. Haha, Princess Yunya's provocation is really good. Well, I can promise you this. What if you lose, Princess Yunya? Feng Ming Wushan asked with a smile. Brother Wushan, what do you think? Yunya asked back. Then I won't be polite. If you lose, you have to accompany me for a month. You have to do whatever I ask you to do, including offering your body. Feng Ming Wushan narrowed his eyes and said, Yunya's beauty had long captivated him. He had dreamed countless times of pressing Yunya down on the bed and *ing her. Today's dream might really come true. Haha, I promise you, but except for myself, don't think about anything else. Yunya smiled faintly. You agree? Feng Ming Wushan was stunned for a moment, then he was ecstatic. He originally thought that Yunya would refuse. Who knew that she would agree without hesitation? Why don't you agree? I'm very optimistic about Ling Xiao. Yunya smiled and said, Ha 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 ha, I really don't know what's so good about Ling Xiao that you are willing to bet with yourself. This time you will lose. Feng Ming Wushan laughed loudly, because he knew that Ling Xiao would lose today. Even if the Bloodskull was no match for Ling Xiao would still lose. From the day Ling Xiao offended the Phoenix Academy, his tragic fate had been doomed. I'm afraid he will disappoint you. Yunya was not the kind of person who would bet with others easily. The reason why she made the bet today was that she believed in Ling Xiao. Idiot, Bloodskull, why don't you attack? What kind of move is Ling Xiao comprehending? Don't give him the chance. Seeing that the Bloodskull was not attacking, Sikong Zun couldn't help but curse. This is a life-and-death duel, not a friendly competition. Take the opportunity to kill him. What are you waiting for? These words were truly like a wake-up call for a dreamer. The Bloodskull was originally wondering why Ling Xiao suddenly stopped moving and closed his eyes as if he was doing something. He thought that Ling Xiao had given up. Now he suddenly understood that Ling Xiao was trying to comprehend some kind of move during the battle. How could this be? Ling Xiao's move had almost killed him. If he allowed him to comprehend something, wouldn't it be even more troublesome? Kill. There was nothing to hesitate about. The Blood Skull didn't care if others called him shameless or not. After all, this was a life-and-death duel. The dead couldn't speak. The huge bone spike pierced through the air and directly pierced Ling Xiao's light armor. So hard! What shocked the Blood Skull was that the strange black and white armor on Ling Xiao's body was unimaginably tough. This move of his was actually unable to pierce through it. Don't dawdle. Use everything you can. If he achieves a breakthrough or comprehends a new move, we'll be in trouble. Sikong Zun roared. The Blood Skull hesitated for a moment, but in the end he still took out a blood-red pill from his storage ring. This was naturally given to him by the higher-ups of the Phoenix Academy. In order to kill Ling Xiao, the Phoenix Academy was willing to do anything. This Berserker pill was personally refined by the Dean of the Divine Phoenix Medical School, Sun Shang. It could increase a cultivator's attack power by nearly 2 times for a short period of time. Of course, the more powerful the pill, the greater the side effects. Because of this, the Blood Skull didn't want to use it. After using this pill, he would be unable to move. If he couldn't kill Ling Xiao, then he would be completely at the mercy of others. However, at this moment, he had no other choice. He swallowed the Berserker pill. Berserk power instantly spread throughout his body. The blood-red glow on the huge bone spike was even brighter than before. Crack! It's broken! There seems to be a crack on the armor. Ling Xiao's defense has been broken. Many people cried out in alarm. They didn't care what the Blood Skull ate. In any case, there weren't any strict rules in this duel. As long as they could kill their opponent without relying on the power of others, it was fine. Chapter 978. Boom! The moment the luster armor cracked, a terrifying energy burst forth from Ling Xiao's body. The supreme, all-destroying intent had already merged with Ling Xiao's aura. Behind Ling Xiao, a faint shadow of a monster appeared. Others couldn't see it clearly, but Ling Xiao understood. He had succeeded. After the perfect fusion of the golden crow soaring sun and the void shadow crocodile, the terrifying heaven-devouring titanic beast was born, Tao Tai. His golden hair danced in the wind. Light radiated in all directions. The roar of a giant beast came from behind him. At this moment, Ling Xiao had not only defeated the blood skeleton's attack, he had also raised his cultivation to a terrifying level. The early stage of the Avalon of 5 elements. He had broken through from the early stage of the 4 symbols to the early stage of the Avalon of 5 elements. He had completely skipped the process in between. What's going on? His cultivation level has broken through, and he has broken through to the Avalon of 5 elements. How is this possible? I've never seen anything like this. What is a genius? This is a genius. And what's with that heart-palpitating roar of the giant beast? Everyone looked at Ling Xiao in shock. This scene had given them too much shock. The aura that erupted from Ling Xiao's body was definitely that of the Avalon of 5 elements, not the 4 symbols heaven realm. What was even more frightening was that the strange giant beast's roar made everyone tremble in fear. What exactly did Ling Xiao do? How did he break through in the middle of a battle? No one could answer this question. Even Ling Xiao himself was puzzled. However, from ancient times until now, there had never been a single person who had thoroughly understood the concept of cultivation. No matter which race one was from, cultivation was like crossing the river by feeling the stones. What was right? What was wrong? What was the correct cultivation path? One could only rely on one's limited experience to judge. However, in reality, the correct experience might be completely wrong in another environment. The blood skeleton was pushed back by the violent force. If not for the white bone cage, he would have been blasted off the stage again. His face revealed an expression of extreme terror. No one could understand the fear in his heart at this moment. Standing in front of him was not a person, but a giant beast that could swallow the sky. It was said that in ancient times the heaven-devouring titanic beast had passed by the mystic world. It could swallow an entire planet in one gulp. The ancients called it Tautai, but they had never seen its true appearance. But that fear was passed down from generation to generation. The Blood Skull had also read about it in a book, so he didn't take it seriously. He felt that the ancient people were exaggerating too much. How could such an existence exist in this world? However, at this very moment, he finally understood that the fear of the ancient people was not exaggerated. Instead, it was diluted because of the long history. Others couldn't see Tautai clearly. The Blood Skull couldn't see it clearly either. All he could see was a huge black hole that seemed capable of swallowing everything in its path. He could feel his soul trembling. Even with the effects of the berserker pill, he still didn't dare to step forward to fight. He didn't even dare to stand up. "Are you scared?" Ling Shao looked at the Blood Skull. With a light wave of his right hand, the white bone cage collapsed. Others couldn't see it, but the Blood Skull could see that his white bone cage had been swallowed by the giant beast. "I admit defeat." The Blood Skull had completely lost the courage to fight. He didn't want to continue. He could even see the signs of his death. "Admit defeat?" Ling Shao sneered. "You're smart. You knew you couldn't win, so you chose to admit defeat. When I was at a disadvantage, you didn't think of sparing my life. Now you're trying to live by admitting defeat? Don't forget that this is a battle of life and death. Blood Skull, stand up. You're at the 6th Heavenly Arts realm now. Don't be scared by his aura. It's just on the surface." Sikong Zun shouted. The Blood Skull was stunned. His eyes lit up for a moment, then dimmed completely. "No, Vice President, you don't understand. You really don't understand." The Blood Skull shook his head. He couldn't use his cultivation to fight Ling Shao now. His terrifying aura was even more terrifying than that of many Grotto Heaven Realm experts. When he faced Grotto Heaven Realm experts, he didn't feel so desperate. Even if he couldn't win, he could run away. But at this moment, he didn't even have the thought of running away. "Humph! Looks like I have to use my last resort. What a good-for-nothing." Sikong Zun snorted coldly and thought to himself. Then, a beam of light suddenly shot out from between his eyebrows. It was so fast that most people didn't notice it. The beam of light shot into the Blood Skull's forehead. At that moment, the Blood Skull lost his sense of self. His eyes glowed red. He was completely under Sikong Zun's control. Sikong Zun's actions naturally didn't escape Ling Zhao's eyes. This old thing is really shameless. Under Sikong Zun's control, the Blood Skull no longer had the slightest bit of fear. He attacked Ling Shao crazily. "Forget it. If you really didn't have the strength to fight back, I wouldn't have the heart to kill you. But now, I don't need to show any mercy to kill you." Ling Shao sighed and didn't draw his sword. He could feel the terrifying power of his next move. Even if he only used his finger's sword to execute it, he could easily kill the Blood Skull. The huge shadow moved from his back to the finger's sword on his right hand. His heavenly elemental energy continued to gather, causing the image of the huge beast to become clearer. It was a huge beast that could destroy everything. A huge beast that could devour everything. Even though it wasn't real, it still had an incomparably ferocious aura. "Tautai! Heaven-devouring, titanic beast!" Countless people cried out in alarm. They couldn't understand how Ling Shao could control such a terrifying thing. It was rumored that even a human king couldn't fight against the Tautai titanic beast. How could Ling Shao, a mere martial artist from the Avalon of 5 elements, fight against it? No, that's not the Tautai titanic beast. It should be a special martial technique that can condense the image and aura of the Tautai titanic beast. Martial artists with good eyesight finally saw through the clues. Even so, it feels too real. That extremely evil and terrifying aura is as if the real Taotai titanic beast has descended. What kind of martial technique does this brat practice? I'm not sure. It's strange. Until now, no one has seen him use his martial soul. What exactly is his martial soul? Isn't it that huge eye? Everyone was discussing fervently, but they still couldn't see through Ling Xiao's nature. Even those who were closest to Ling Xiao didn't know what kind of martial technique Ling Xiao had and what kind of martial soul he had. Ling Xiao sighed in his heart. Due to his low cultivation level, the Taotai titanic beast that he had condensed was only in its embryonic form. Whether in terms of aura or power, it was 108,000 times weaker than the real Taotai titanic beast. They weren't even on the same level. Chapter 979. The fusion between the golden crow dawn sun and the void shadow crocodile was only in its infancy, but it was still enough to become Ling Xiao's strongest killing move. It was too terrifying. He had yet to use the golden crow sword. If he used the golden crow sword, the power of this move would be greatly enhanced. The blood skeleton attacked frantically, but he could not touch Ling Xiao's body. The bone cage was broken, and Ling Xiao regained his freedom. He dodged the attacks with ease while condensing his sword. He did not feel any pressure at all. Success! Blood skeleton, take my move today, Doomsday of Taotai! At that moment, the giant beast roared. The light from Ling Xiao's fingertip pierced through the air. His finger was as fast as the wind and as fast as lightning. No. The blood skeleton's soul, which was imprisoned in his body, screamed in fear. This move was not only magnificent but also terrifying. The power was not something he could withstand. He did not even have the courage to resist. Bone purgatory! Amidst the extreme fear, the blood skull actually regained a trace of its consciousness. It frantically cast the strongest defense it could muster right now. All the bones that were originally used for attacks gathered together to form a sturdy line of defense. Although the blood skeleton knew it was useless, he still did it because he did not want to die. He did not want to watch his body get destroyed. Before the huge Taotai arrived, the white bone purgatory had already been shattered. It was useless. No defense was useful. The blood skeleton would definitely die under this move. He was in despair. He was in complete despair. Vice President, please save the blood skeleton. The blood skeleton's girlfriend cried for help. Even though she did not have good eyesight, she knew that the blood skeleton had no chance of surviving this move. Humph, we are from the Phoenix Academy. You can't kill us just because you want to. Sikong Zun was still considering whether to save the useless blood skeleton, but the Peacock Phoenix son made a move first. He soared into the air and charged toward the arena with a terrifying aura. A divine light flashed behind him as if he wanted to suck Ling Xiao into the divine light. This is a battle of life and death. You are not allowed to interfere. Feng Qingyan was really annoyed. When the Phoenix Cry, Wan Chong, ambushed Ling Xiao, he did not have time to defend himself, so that guy succeeded. Fortunately, Ling Xiao was fine. Now, the Peacock Phoenix son, a junior, dared to ambush a student of Qingshu College in front of him. Did he think that Feng Qingyan did not have a temper? The Phoenix Cry, Wan Chong's body. How did that peacock and phoenix fly out, and how did they fly back? Vile spawn, stop it! Just as Feng Qingyan blocked Peacock Phoenix Sun, Sikong Zun made his move. Perhaps this was the opportunity he had been waiting for. Although he did not pounce out like Peacock Huangzi, his thunderous voice contained his terrifying inner strength. Ling Xiao, who had completely destroyed the blood skeleton's defenses, suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His body swayed and he nearly fell to the ground. Feng Qingyan scolds. Sikong Zun pretended to be stupid and ignored him. Ha 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 ha, Sikong Zun. You want to stop me from killing him? I will kill him. If I, Ling Xiao, want to kill someone, no one will live. Ling Xiao, whose face was pale and his breath was weak, suddenly laughed crazily. It's useless. Whatever you do is useless. This move is not something you can easily resolve. Although he was injured, he had already released his move. Tao Chia's doomsday was unstoppable. The blood skeleton was dead. Under this move, he did not resist at all and completely disappeared from the battle stage. Not even a corpse was left behind. The square suddenly quieted down. He won. Ling Xiao actually won. And he won with the help of the 2 vice presidents of the Phoenix Academy. What kind of miracle was this? They were extremely excited. Ling Xiao! Ling Xiao! One person shouted. Then 2 people, 3 people. Countless people shouted this name together. The whole square seemed to have become Ling Xiao's world. He was the winner. He was a warrior with indomitable will. After killing the blood skeleton, Ling Xiao swallowed a healing pill and looked at Sikong Zun with cold eyes. Your divine Phoenix Academy is really one more shameless than the other. Shameless old fogies. He wanted to kill Sikong Zun right now, but he knew that he could not do it. Even if he used the power of the Human King, he could only counterattack when his opponent was not paying attention, like when he dealt with Phoenix Cry Wanchong. Unfortunately, Phoenix Cry Wanchong had already suffered a loss. Sikong Zun would not be so stupid as to not take any precautions. This was a world where the strong were respected. There was no reason to speak of. No matter how much reason you had, it was useless. The other party was stronger than you. They could even turn black into white. So what if they were shameless? These people did not care about other people's opinions because no one dared to talk nonsense in front of them. Even if they talked behind their backs, they could only talk about it carefully. Ling Xiao, Master, Senior Brother, Brother Ling, Feng Yanran, Cold Plum, and the others all ran to Ling Xiao and supported the tottering youth, asking about his well-being with concern. Don't worry, I won't die yet. Although that shameless old man wanted to kill me, he did not succeed from the heavenly dragon continent to here. Ling Xiao felt a thick warmth in his heart. Although this world was filled with too much coldness and injustice, there was still warmth in it. These friends were Ling Xiao's greatest wealth. This brat is quite popular. Yes, and he is so tenacious. He will definitely become someone great in the future. In the crowd, many people admired Ling Xiao. The constant mention of Ling Xiao's name was the best proof. Most importantly, Ling Xiao's performance today was too eye-catching and too shocking. It was impossible not to admire him. With his early stage 4-symbol sky cultivation, he suppressed the late-stage 5-elements sky cultivation to the point that the blood skeleton had no choice but to use the skeletal battle form and fight with all his strength, temporarily raising his cultivation to the early stage 6-art sky cultivation. He even used the forbidden medicine berserker pill to forcibly raise his battle power. Faced with the threat of death, Ling Xiao did not let his friends interfere. Instead, he said the bold words of living as a hero, dying as a hero. In the face of death, he was not afraid. Everyone was proud of him, but also felt that it was a pity. However, just when everyone thought that Ling Xiao was definitely going to die, he had an epiphany. He had comprehended a shocking ultimate move and forcibly made a breakthrough from the early stage 4 symbols sky cultivation to the early stage 5 elements sky cultivation. The most terrifying thing was that the shameless Yin-Yang realm warrior Sikong Zun had interfered, injuring Ling Xiao to the point of vomiting blood and turning pale. However, Ling Xiao still killed the blood skeleton in front of the Sikong Zun and everyone winning the battle. Tenacity, valiance, bravery, not fearing power. Ling Xiao used his legendary battle to make everyone stand up and cheer for him. Chapter 980. At this time, all the cultivators of the Phoenix Academy were looking at Ling Xiao with anger and embarrassment. They were angry because Ling Xiao had killed the blood skeleton in front of them. They were embarrassed because Ling Xiao had defeated the blood skeleton in front of them. He had resisted all the interference and destroyed the blood skeleton. The top 20 experts of the Phoenix Academy had been easily killed by a lowly human from the heavenly dragon continent. They found it hard to accept. However, Ling Xiao didn't care about their reactions. At this time, Ling Xiao only had eyes for the lightning demon king, Sikong Zun. This bastard had destroyed his homeland, and had even chased him all the way to the divine Phoenix continent. If not for the fact that his body was strong enough today, that one attack would have been enough to scatter his soul. He had always insisted on cultivating his martial arts, body and soul. It seemed that he had taken the right step. Brat, what did you just say? Sikong Zun was the lightning demon king. He was one of the 9 great demon kings of the true demon empire that had almost unified the mystic world. However, because of Ling Xiao, his plan in the heavenly dragon continent was ultimately unable to succeed. After coming to the divine Phoenix continent, his identity was still exposed because of Ling Xiao. As a result, many of his plans couldn't be carried out smoothly. In his eyes, Ling Xiao was someone he must kill. He didn't think that what he had just done was wrong. So what if he was shameless? I can do it, but you can't say it. I said you're a despicable old dog. Ling Xiao enunciated each word clearly and loudly in front of everyone. Bastard, I'll kill you. Sikong Zun's face turned green with anger. He was so angry that he wanted to attack. One of the Phoenix Academy's vice principals had already been chased away by Ling Xiao. If he didn't dare to attack Ling Xiao, it would be a disgrace to the Phoenix Academy. Humph, Lightning Demon King. Do you really think this is the mystic world from tens of thousands of years ago? Your true devil empire is no longer the same as before. With me here, you can forget about harming him. Feng Qingyan coldly snorted and directly went to Ling Xiao's side to protect Ling Xiao. He felt very guilty for not being able to protect Ling Xiao before. Now he would rather use his old life to protect the descendants of his benefactor. Haha. There's no need for the two of you to get angry. Both of you are the pillars of our divine Phoenix Empire. No matter who gets injured, I'm afraid that the one who will be the happiest would be the Black Crow Empire. What's more, this duel has already ended, so there's no need to continue arguing over such a small matter. If it was someone else who said this, they would probably be scolded to death. However, when these words came out of Feng Yinshan's mouth, no one dared to say anything. He wanted to smooth things over so that the situation wouldn't worsen. Although Phoenix Academy and Qingshu College had always been competing with each other, they had never fought each other head-on. After all, these were the 2 best academies in Divine Phoenix Empire. If they were to cause a ruckus, then they would really be thrown into disarray. With his position, there wasn't anything wrong with smoothing things over like this. However, he didn't accuse Sikong Zun of interfering with the duel. Although this was the best choice for him, he didn't ask for Ling Xiao's opinion. This meant that, in his eyes, Ling Xiao was just an insignificant person. Even if he was the descendant of his benefactor, he was still insignificant. If he could help, then he would. If he couldn't, then so be it. This was the heir to the imperial family. As a politician, he was definitely qualified because he didn't have any personal feelings in his eyes. However, he didn't know that because of this, he would lose the respect and admiration that Ling Xiao had for him. Feng Qingyan also didn't want to blow things up. Of course, his considerations were different from Feng Yinshan's. He was only worried that if things got out of hand, with his strength alone, he wouldn't be able to protect Ling Xiao. Therefore, it was best for this duel to end like this. In any case, the result was already out. Why should they pursue the crime of Sikong Zun's sneak attack? Moreover, even if they pursued the matter, who could punish Sikong Zun? This was something that even Feng Yinshan couldn't do. After all, Sikong Zun was a member of Phoenix Cry Mountain. Forget it. I'll listen to the heir to the hidden mountain. We can ignore the matter of Sikong Zun interfering with the duel. We can pretend that the incident of Ling Xiao didn't happen. Feng Qingyan sighed. In the end, he wasn't strong enough. He wasn't strong enough to completely suppress the Phoenix Academy. Otherwise, with his personality, he wouldn't have given in so easily. Ling Xiao sighed. He knew that Feng Qingyan was doing this for his own good. Naturally, he wouldn't refute Feng Qingyan without knowing what was good for him. Although he was unhappy, he didn't say anything. It could be considered that he tacitly agreed with Feng Qingyan's opinion. The other spectators also felt that this was the best course of action. However, at this moment, Sikong Zun sneered and said, "You said that I launched a sneak attack, but you don't have any evidence." However, everyone saw Ling Xiao killing a disciple of the Phoenix Academy. "Don't you want to pursue the matter?" "I want to pursue the matter. Today, Ling Xiao must be handed over to the Phoenix Academy to be dealt with." His attitude suddenly became unyielding. Feng Yinshan frowned slightly. He turned his head and saw a figure flash by the side of the square. Phoenix Cry Mountain? No wonder. With the support of Phoenix Cry Mountain, Sikong Zun wouldn't even give him face. "Sikong Zun, you're really shameless. You know best whether or not you launched a sneak attack on Ling Xiao. As for the matter of Ling Xiao killing Blood Skull, the two of them signed a life and death agreement. What right do you have to pursue Ling Xiao's responsibility?" Feng Qingyan was instantly enraged. He had originally planned to take a step back and swallow his anger. However, who would have thought that not only would Sikong Zun not appreciate his kindness, but he would also distort the truth and bite back? How could he tolerate this? Ha 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 ha, life and death agreement. Sikong Zun laughed loudly and said, "Did the Phoenix Academy agree to that life and death agreement? Did it have the signature of the dean or the deputy dean, or even a teacher?" Feng Qingyan was stunned. How could someone be so shameless? There was no signature, right? Sikong Zun continued, "Since there was no signature, it means that their life and death duel wasn't agreed to by the Phoenix Academy. Blood Skull was a student of the Phoenix Academy. His life belonged to the Phoenix Academy. Now that Ling Xiao killed him, don't you think we should pursue the matter?" *CK, how can this be? The spectators were also dumbfounded. Sikong Zun's level of unreasonable pestering was unparalleled. "Since you said that the life and death duel couldn't be carried out without the signature, why didn't the two deputy deans stop it? Wasn't that tacit agreement? Oh, now that Blood Skull is dead, you're saying that the life and death agreement is invalid? What if Ling Xiao died? You'll definitely say that he deserved it, right? No one else would say such a shameless thing." In fact, everyone understood that there was only one reason for Sikong Zun to do this, and that was to kill Ling Xiao no matter what. Otherwise, how could the Phoenix Academy put its face? Chapter 981. In order to kill Ling Xiao, Sikong Zun was willing to disregard the crown prince, Feng Yinshan. Feng Qingyan wanted to say something, but he suddenly heard a cold voice. "Sikong Zun, you old dog, you said that our life and death agreement doesn't count. You said that you didn't have evidence to prove that you attacked me? That's strange. Do you have evidence that I killed the blood skeleton?" The person who spoke was naturally Ling Xiao. Since the other party was so shameless, why should he reason with him? "Didn't you say that the life and death agreement didn't count? Then I'll be even more shameless than you. What a joke. So many people here saw you kill the blood skeleton. How dare you say that you don't have evidence?" Sikong Zun sneered. "Did you see it?" Ling Xiao asked the crowd below the stage. No one uttered a word. They didn't want to offend the Phoenix Academy or Qingshu College, so they simply kept quiet. Moreover, the scene just now had developed too quickly. They only saw the blood skeleton disappear, but they didn't know if the blood skeleton was really dead or not. If the blood skeleton came back alive, it would be a big joke. "I saw it. I saw it too. We all saw it clearly." The people who spoke were all from the Phoenix Academy and Piping Island. Ling Xiao looked at them disdainfully and said, "The Phoenix Academy's words are like farts. They can even refuse to acknowledge the life and death agreement that they signed. Do you think your words count? What a joke. As for the people from Piping Island, that is the young master of Piping Island, Chumu, right? You should worry about your own matters. You captured so many cultivators to be your slaves and trapped them for such a long time. Do you really think they are pushovers? The people from Piping Island didn't say anything, and Ling Xiao was too lazy to talk about it. However, since they were on the Phoenix Academy side, there was no need for him to hide it. Ladies and gentlemen, have any of your disciples or relatives suddenly disappeared? I have a list here. All of them are people who were captured by Piping Island to make Tianyuan crystal stone in the crystal stone factory. You can see if there are any of your lost relatives or disciples. After speaking, Ling Xiao raised his hand. A strange formation appeared in the sky. On top of the spirit formation, there were vivid names, and there were even images of those people beside them. That's my son. That's my most promising disciple. Daughter. My grandson. Originally, Ling Xiao had only intended to give it a try. Who would have thought that when the name was announced, there would be continuous exclamations from below the stage? The young master of Piping Island, Chu Mu, turned pale in an instant. Let's go. Seeing that the situation was not good, he turned around and wanted to escape. Where are you going? There was no lack of experts in the crowd. A huge hand that covered the sky easily smacked Chu Mu down. Father, save me. In the stands, Kai Weiwei let out a shrill cry for help. Weiwei? Weiwei, is that you? Kai Weiwei's father was only the sect master of a small sect. However, his cultivation was at the Grotto Heaven realm. If it were any other time, he would not have offended Piping Island. However, at this moment, when he saw his daughter being tortured to such a state, one could imagine how furious he was. What was the point of a sect master who could not even protect his own daughter? I'll kill you. Kai Weiwei's father was completely enraged. He wanted to kill Chu Mu on the spot. Brother Kai, please wait. Someone stopped Kai Weiwei's father and said, This thief must be killed. However, the most important thing is to find out the whereabouts of those who were lost. Weiwei, where is Shimenbo? This was Shimenbo's father. He was killed by the people of Piping Island. Kai Weiwei said as she cried. That was true. Although Shimenbo was not on good terms with Ling Xiao, the people who killed Shimenbo were from Piping Island. Damn it! Weiwei, don't be afraid. If you have anything to say, say it all. With so many people supporting you, even if it's Piping Island, we'll destroy him. There were simply too many experts present. Ling Xiao had poked a hornet's nest. However, the one to suffer was not him, but Piping Island. If these people worked together, they could definitely destroy an empire. For example, Shimenbo's grandfather. Although he was in seclusion, he was still a yin-yang realm expert. There was also a grand elder of Kai Weiwei's sect, who was also a yin-yang realm expert. As for the other Grotto Heaven realm experts, they were countless. When Piping Island captured the people, they did not think that these people would be able to escape, so they did not pay much attention to them. However, today they were really in trouble. Because of Chu Mu's words, Piping Island might be removed from the 7 Martial Ancestor Islands. Kai Weiwei described the entire process in detail. Perhaps because he was grateful to Ling Xiao, he did not mention that Ling Xiao had killed the slaves inside. Instead, he said that Ling Xiao had killed the managers and deacons, and then helped most of the slaves escape. Now, Ling Xiao had become the benefactor of these experts. Sikong Zun's expression became extremely ugly, because if they wanted to forcefully take Ling Xiao away, they would have to become enemies with these people. Even Phoenix Cry Mountain and Divine Phoenix Empire's emperor would not dare to do so. Otherwise, Divine Phoenix Empire would become the next Piping Island. Thank you, Benefactor Ling Xiao. Thank you. Countless experts cupped their hands and bowed to Ling Xiao. Everyone, there is no need to be like this. I was only trying to save myself and those people. Ling Xiao said indifferently. The more he said this, the more these people admired him, and the more they felt that they owed him. No matter what, Benefactor still saved our loved ones. This favor must be repaid. Kai Weiwei's father said loudly. That's right. Countless people chimed in. If you want to repay the favor, it is not impossible. Then I will have to trouble everyone to help me kill this Sikongzun. Ling Xiao said indifferently. Of course. He knew that this was not possible. These people would not offend the Phoenix Academy just to repay a favor. However, he was just saying it to scare Sikongzun and let this old dog know how to be afraid. Ling Xiao, you dare to kill me? Sikongzun was really panicking. Although he knew that these people might not dare to attack him, there might be lunatics among them. What? The vice president of the Phoenix Academy knows how to be afraid. Ling Xiao laughed disdainfully. Forget it, I was just teasing you. After all, you are the vice president of the Phoenix Academy. I won't go so far as to kill you. However, today, you will cripple one of your arms as atonement. When he said this, the people below the stage heaved a sigh of relief. It would be difficult to kill Sikongzun. However, if it was just crippling one of Sikongzun's arms, they would really dare to do it. Impossible. Sikongzun roared. Is that so? Ling Xiao looked at Sikongzun with a faint smile. Then he looked at the people below the stage and did not say anything. Sikongzun, do you really want to die? Below the stage, a Yin-Yang realm expert shouted angrily, Don't make it difficult for us! That's right. If you are not willing to cripple your arm, then we will attack. Another expert shouted. Chapter 982. Do you want to become enemies with the Phoenix Academy? Sikongzun was dumbfounded. He thought that killing Ling Xiao would be as easy as killing an ant. With the support of Phoenix Kraichishan, he could do whatever he wanted. But now he suddenly realized that Ling Xiao, a lowly human, could take his life at any time. Ling Xiao, remember this. I, Sikongzun, will never forget this grudge. Facing the people below the stage, Sikongzun angrily removed one of his arms. What a disgrace. One arm might not be much, but in front of so many people he wanted to harm Ling Xiao, but in the end he was forced to remove one of his arms by Ling Xiao. He had lost all his face. Feng Yinshan frowned slightly. He wanted Ling Xiao to owe him a favor, but he didn't expect that Ling Xiao could suppress Sikongzun without his help. It seems that I have underestimated you. Feng Yinshan sighed in his heart. This won't do. I have to change my strategy. I have to rope this person in at all costs. At this moment, 2 arms suddenly fell from the sky. They were wrapped in the Phoenix Academy's clothes, and even the vice president's special pattern was on them. Isn't that Phoenix Cry Wanchong's clothes? Feng Qingyan jumped in fright. The vice president has good eyes. Did Phoenix Cry Wanchong think that he would be fine after sneaking an attack on me? I just asked someone to remove both of his arms. So, Sikongzun, you are lucky that you only lost one arm. In fact, Ling Xiao wanted to let the butterfly lady kill Phoenix Cry Wanchong. Unfortunately, that guy was too strong. Even if his spiritual C was severely injured, he still managed to escape from the butterfly lady, leaving only 2 arms and the clothes wrapped around them. What? Hearing this, everyone was shocked again. Feng Yinshan's jaw almost dropped. What was going on with Ling Xiao? Could it be that there was an incomparably powerful expert behind him? Fortunately, he didn't offend this guy. Otherwise, it would be very disadvantageous for him. The people below the stage couldn't help but sigh. So it turns out that Ling Xiao didn't ask us to cut off Sikongzun's arm to take advantage of us. He just didn't want us to owe him a favor. He was thinking of us old guys. To think that I misunderstood him. I'm really gauging the heart of a gentleman with my own mean measure. This young man is really not bad. He probably has a yin-yang realm expert protecting him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to deal with Phoenix Cry 10,000 layers. I'm definitely going to be your friend. Me too. Nowadays, it's really rare to see such a young man. These discussions caused Feng Yinshan to exclaim inwardly, What a powerful person. His methods are truly terrifying. He was able to obtain the support of so many people so easily. In the future, the people from the Phoenix Academy will have to think twice before making a move on him. He suddenly thought of Ji Furing and Yu Xianyue, who had come to the Divine Phoenix continent before. Ling Zhao's performance was truly stronger than those two. He was indeed worthy of being the son of those two. Feng Yinshan smiled slightly. He felt that there was no need for him to appear today, so he chose to leave. His purpose for coming here was to make Ling Xiao owe him a favor. However, it was clear that Ling Xiao didn't need to owe him a favor. Instead, he had helped him suppress those idiots from the Ice Phoenix clan. He should be thanking this person. Feng Yinshan quickly returned to his private courtyard and asked a white-bearded old man, "Master, you saw what happened today. What do you think?" The white-bearded old man stroked his beard and smiled as he drank tea. "There's nothing wrong with your Highness' way of thinking and doing things. You're also very good at judging people. You're much better than Phoenix, cried Qishan. This time, not only did you take the opportunity to suppress the Phoenix Academy and the Ice Phoenix clan, but you also made many people have a good impression of you. It's just that Ling Xiao was a little unexpected, which caused some discrepancies in your Highness' plan. Master, you're really amazing. You guessed all this without even being there? Master, what do you think of this Ling Xiao?" Feng Yinshan said in admiration. "I can't see through him." The white-bearded old man shook his head. "This person is a mystery. Even Ji Furing and you, Xianyue, can't see through this little guy." The Phoenix Academy set up this duel today for a very clear purpose. First, they wanted to suppress Qingshu College and use the Blood Skull to ruin Qingshu College's reputation. This plan fell through because of Ling Zhao's victory. Second, they wanted to take the opportunity to make Qingshu College and Your Highness the Crown Prince fall out with the Dark Phoenix clan. This point was resolved because of Your Highness' wit. You were right not to side with Ling Xiao. At the very least, you were right to destroy the other party's plan. The Dark Phoenix clan won't blame you. Of course, Your Highness has a choice. Do you want the support of the Dark Phoenix clan or Ling Xiao? You have to think carefully. As for the Phoenix Academy's third purpose, it was very clear. They wanted to establish a good relationship with Piping Island. After all, Ling Xiao killed Chu Lin of Piping Island. It would be best if the Blood Skull could kill Ling Xiao. But because Ling Xiao mentioned the Crystal Factory, this plan fell through. Do you think Ling Xiao did it on purpose or unintentionally? Feng Yinshan suddenly asked. What do you think, Your Highness? The white-bearded old man asked. This person, Ling Xiao, is extremely scheming. Although he's young, he's extremely mature and prudent. His thoughts are simply terrifying. From what I see, it should be intentional. From the very beginning, he had already guessed Divine Phoenix Academy's goal, so he basically targeted them. Feng Yinshan replied, he didn't think too much about offending the Dark Phoenix clan. Maybe it's because he doesn't care at all. Your Highness overlooked one point. The white-bearded old man sighed and said, Ling Xiao was actually testing Your Highness. This king has the same feeling. Feng Yinshan sighed and said, but I underestimated him. At that moment, he chose not to help either side. Then we can only slowly make up for it. The white-bearded old man said. That's the only way. Feng Yinshan sighed, and then a bright light flashed in his eyes. Master, let your people go to Piping Island. Last time, we found out that the Ice Phoenix clan was colluding with Piping Island, but there was no evidence. This time, Piping Island is probably finished. Take this opportunity to gather all the evidence. Don't worry, Your Highness. I have already sent people. The white-bearded old man nodded. Thank you, Master. You can go do your work. I should go back and deal with those stubborn old men in the clan. After saying this, Feng Yinshan left. Just like how he came in mysteriously, he also left in a hurry. Seeing Feng Yinshan leave, the white-bearded old man couldn't help but frown and sigh. I really don't know if it's a blessing or a curse for you to join the fight for the Imperial Emperor. Alas, your talent is outstanding. If you focus on martial arts, you won't be worse than Feng Mingqishan. Chapter 983. Feng Mingqishan, the heir apparent of the Ice Phoenix clan, ranked first among the 10 great phoenixes. His strength was unfathomable, but he rarely appeared to deal with these conspiracies. Most of the matters were left to the imperial tutor and Feng Mingwushan, so he had enough time to cultivate. He was 1 or 2 years older than Feng Yinshan, but his cultivation level was higher than Feng Yinshan's. Feng Yinshan was ranked second among the 10 great phoenixes, but he had no reliable helpers by his side. He was always worried about other things, so his cultivation level naturally fell behind. However, he was still ranked second among the 10 great phoenixes. This was enough to show how terrifying his aptitude was. On the other side, after Feng Yinshan left, Sikong Zun also left the plaza in humiliation and returned to the Phoenix Academy. Within a day, 2 vice deans had lost 3 arms. This was definitely super big news. After all, both of them were Yin-Yang realm experts. To be able to injure the 2 of them, it was only a celestial realm practitioner of the Avalon of 5 elements. This was even more shocking, seeing that Ling Xiao did not stop Sikong Zun. Many Phoenix Academy disciples secretly heaved a sigh of relief. They were actually afraid that Ling Xiao would kill Sikong Zun. If this had happened yesterday, no one would have believed it. Ling Xiao did not kill Sikong Zun not because he did not want to, but because he could not. Wanting one of Sikong Zun's arms and killing Sikong Zun were 2 completely different concepts. Now that he and the Phoenix Academy were like fire and water, it was impossible to reconcile. In the future, he had to be more careful in his cultivation and life. If he was not careful, the Phoenix Academy might find a way to get rid of him. They did not dare to do it openly, but they still had many tricks up their sleeves. He had borrowed the prestige of countless pugilistic world experts for today's matter, but these people could not always help him. In the end, he still had to continuously increase his strength. It was more convenient to solve many things by himself. Fortunately, the butterfly girl had recovered. With such a trump card in hand, he was not afraid of being plotted against. As for Feng Yinshan, although he felt that this person was the same as Haim, Myung-Keo in the past, there was only politics in her eyes and no human feelings. But at the very least, this person had no enmity towards him. This was somewhat similar to Ling Wuheng, the second master of the Ling family. He was definitely someone they could ally with. If he could join forces with Feng Yinshan, he would have another layer of protection. Benefactor, we have to go to Piping Island to settle accounts, so we have to leave. If Benefactor has any orders for us, just let us know. The experts below the stage hated Piping Island to death. Although they had captured Chumu, that didn't resolve the hatred in their hearts. The next thing to do was naturally to find his lost relatives and settle the score with Piping Island. Everyone just mind your own business. Ling Xiao nodded. He knew very well that the words of these people were mostly just polite words. When it came to conflicts of interest, perhaps only a few masters would be willing to help him. Most of the others would just not cheat him, and that was enough. See you later. See you later. Most of them left hurriedly. Kai Weiwei also left with her father. Before she left, this girl didn't forget to respectfully bow and thank Ling Xiao. Although the person who saved her was not Ling Xiao, but if Ling Xiao didn't speak up for justice and scare Chumu away, she wouldn't have had the chance to speak. In the future, keep your eyes open and find a good man. Ling Xiao smiled and gave Kai Weiwei a sincere piece of advice. This Kai Weiwei had gone astray because she had followed the wrong man. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been such a disaster. Weiwei will remember Benefactor's words in her heart. Ha 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 ha! I didn't expect our young heroing to be such a sentimental person. After Kai Weiwei and the rest left, The Phoenix Academy disciples who had been sitting there trembling in fear regained their prestige. The one who mocked Ling Xiao was the peacock phoenix, Kong He. Ling Xiao turned his head to look at Kong He, and a murderous look appeared on his face. He didn't care if Kong He mocked him, but Kong He actually tried to sneak an attack on him. If Feng Qingyan hadn't stopped him, Kong He would have jumped onto the stage. He didn't forget this grudge. The peacock phoenix is so impressive. I, Ling Xiao, don't have such a bad memory. I remember a despicable person who tried to sneak an attack on me very clearly. Ling Xiao said coldly. So what if I sneak attacked you? Your backers have already left. Do you really think that's your prestige? If I want to kill you, it's as easy as killing someone. The peacock phoenix said coldly. The 10 great phoenixes weren't just the symbol of talent. They were the pride of the divine Phoenix Empire and also the symbol of strength. Those who could become the 10 great phoenixes were the true young experts. Kong, he wasn't bragging. He really could do it. In his eyes, Ling Xiao was just an ant. He didn't dare to say anything just now because he was afraid of the pugilistic world experts, and not because he was afraid of Ling Xiao. There were always people who wanted the title of 10 great phoenixes, but they had to exchange it with blood or even their lives. It could be said that such a title was made up of piles of bones. Senior Kong, you must avenge Bloodskull. As long as you can avenge him, I'm willing to do anything. Bloodskull's girlfriend said loudly. Kong, he smiled proudly. He turned around to admire the woman's perfect figure. He thought to himself that Bloodskull had good taste. If he could get this woman on his bed, it would be a good thing. It was rare to see a young master from a noble family who wasn't lustful. After all, he grew up in that kind of environment. It was hard not to be affected. Don't worry, junior sister. This person has insulted our Phoenix Academy many times. He even killed Kulong and Kuyu from our Peacock clan. Even if Bloodskull wasn't involved, this phoenix would still kill him. Kong He's words were very high class, but he was probably the only one who understood his own dirty thoughts the best. After he finished speaking, he looked at Feng Qingyan and said, Vice President Feng, our Phoenix Academy has indeed lost today's battle. In order to defend our Phoenix Academy's honor, this phoenix is willing to challenge your Academy's young experts. You can choose anyone to fight with me. There's no need to fight to the death. Just a normal duel will do. So you don't have to worry about losing geniuses. How about it? Peacock Phoenix had just joined the Phoenix Academy. He hadn't done anything for the Phoenix Academy yet, so he felt a little uneasy. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he publicly challenged Qingshu College's experts. He was really scheming. After all, he knew that among the 10 great phoenixes of the divine Phoenix Empire, there were 4 in the Phoenix Academy. Qingshu College didn't even have one. So no matter who Feng Qingyan chose, they wouldn't be a match for him, Peacock Phoenix. This was the best way for Peacock Phoenix to regain his face. Chapter 984. Defeating Ling Xiao would be too meaningless. There would probably be people who would say that he, the Peacock Phoenix son, was bullying the weak. So now, he was giving Qingshu College a chance to choose. He was letting Qingshu College choose the person to fight with him. There were still many people in the audience who had not left. After all, not everyone was related to the Piping Island incident. When they heard this, they were a little excited. To them, the livelier it was, the better. They couldn't wait to see such exciting battles every day. Without waiting for Feng Qingyan to speak, Kong He continued, What's wrong? Are the disciples of Qingshu College all cowards? Cowards? Can't even afford to lose an ordinary battle? Or is your college fishing for fame and reputation? You don't live up to your reputation at all. These words were very unpleasant. Even with Feng Qingyan's calm personality, he couldn't stand it. But in his heart, it was really difficult, because among the disciples of Qingshu College, there was really no one who was a match for the 10 great phoenixes. At most, they could exchange a few hundred blows, but in the end, they would still be defeated miserably. Once the young disciples, especially the arrogant geniuses, lost miserably to someone of the same generation, it would be a very serious blow to their self-confidence. If it wasn't necessary, he really didn't want to do that. At this moment, Ling Xiao's voice suddenly rang out. Peacock Phoenix is so impressive. You want to fight, right? Then I'll play with you. But I don't like ordinary battles. Why don't we agree on a life and death battle? Of course, this time, not only do you have to sign the life and death agreement, but also the 2 vice deans of Phoenix Academy and the dean have to sign the life and death agreement. Haha, but I doubt that old dog Phoenix Cry Wanchong will sign it. Ling Xiao's words were extremely sarcastic. The disciples of Phoenix Academy were incomparably angry, but they couldn't refute. They didn't admit that the life and death agreement was made by Sikong Zun. If they refuted, it would be disrespectful to Sikong Zun. They didn't have the guts to do so. Why should I sign the life and death agreement with you? Kong, he frowned. It was fine for him to play around, but in a battle of life and death, there were too many variables. He was a little afraid. What if Ling Xiao wanted to drag him down with him before he died? What if the mysterious expert behind Ling Xiao helped him? These were all variables, so he didn't want to sign it. If you don't dare to fight, then shut your mouth. Don't make a fool of yourself here. It's not up to a coward like you to judge the students of Qingshu College. Ling Xiao shouted. You. What about me? If you don't dare to fight, then scram. Do you think the Phoenix Academy hasn't lost enough face by staying here? Ling Xiao sneered in disdain. If you don't dare to fight, then I'll find a chance to fight at your Phoenix Academy. At that time, I hope you won't be a coward like today. The situation was instantly reversed. Originally, Peacock Huangzi wanted to use this opportunity to suppress Qingshu College and regain his face. However, he didn't expect Ling Xiao to completely rebuke him with just a few words. He was completely dumbfounded. In the crowd, many martial artists looked at Ling Xiao as if they were looking at a monster. The person who said this was not a lunatic. It meant that he was really confident. Ling Xiao obviously didn't look like a lunatic. He could make Phoenix Cry, Wanchong, and Sikong Zun lose 3 arms. It was enough to show how meticulous and terrifying his thoughts were. It was Phoenix Academy's misfortune to have provoked such a person. I'm afraid you won't live to see that day. Let's go. In the end, Kong, he didn't have the guts to fight Ling Xiao to the death. Bloodskull's death was a huge shock to him. Although Bloodskull's cultivation was much lower than his, it was much higher than Ling Xiao's. In the end, he was still killed. Moreover, he died without knowing how. Until now, Kong, he still couldn't figure out how Ling Xiao killed Bloodskull. Therefore, even before the battle had begun, he was already on the verge of collapsing. He knew this very well, so he didn't dare to fight. He would rather lose his face than lose his life. In fact, this was considered a smart choice. However, he didn't know that Ling Xiao was just holding on. The current Ling Xiao, unless he chose to die together with Kong He, was no match for him. However, he would never do something like perishing together with his enemy. Therefore, he was just scaring people. However, it was this kind of scaring that scared away Peacock Huangzi, one of the 10 great phoenixes. You're crazy. However, people like you won't live long. The next to leave was Sky Rock Huangzi Pingyu. His thoughts were basically the same as Peacock Huangzi's. They didn't want to fight now. The other disciples of Phoenix Academy looked at each other. Each of them had an obvious look of disappointment. They couldn't wait to find a hole to hide in. They originally thought that they could use the strength of the 2 phoenixes to regain their dignity. But in the end, they ended up in an even more embarrassing state. One by one, they fled the square. Boring. Let's go too. We can't watch the show anymore. The spectators also chose to leave. In the entire square, only Ling Xiao, his friends, and Feng Qingyan were left. Feng Qingyan looked at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao also looked at Feng Qingyan. Vice President, thank you so much for this time. Kid, you've really caused a lot of trouble for Qingshu College. However, I like it. Feng Qingyan had long felt that Ling Xiao was an extraordinary person, so he had been paying attention to him. However, today's incident still shocked him. Even he, Feng Qingyan, might not be able to do what Ling Xiao did. This kid was really too powerful. He was so powerful that he couldn't help but admire him. Vice President, you're flattering me. I just did what I should do. Ling Xiao felt very happy. However, he wouldn't get carried away because of this. This was because he knew that relying on external forces wasn't a long-term solution. The key was to raise his own cultivation. This was the most important step. From today onwards, your name will probably resound throughout the entire imperial city. However, this might not be a good thing. After all, martial artists are competitive. There are many winners. You must be careful. Feng Qingyan reminded him. Thank you, Vice President, for your reminder. I understand. Ling Xiao understood this principle when he was in the Sky Dragon continent. Although he had changed places after coming to the Divine Phoenix continent, the rules of the underworld were still the same. Let's go back. Feng Qingyan nodded and said with satisfaction. Everyone returned to Qingshu College. Feng Qingyan naturally went to report today's incident to the president. He said that he was representing himself to watch the battle. In fact, as the vice president, it wasn't very possible. After all, he was representing the entire Qingshu College. At this time, Ling Xiao finally couldn't pretend anymore. Being injured by the Sikong Zun made him very uncomfortable. He almost couldn't stand properly. Haim, Miankeo, and Cold Plum hurriedly supported him and sent him to his room to rest. Senior Sister Lan, don't worry about me. You should go and cultivate. Remember, strength is dignity. Without strength, you don't even have dignity. Ling Xiao didn't forget this important thing, even though he was injured. Chapter 985. Ling Xiao wasn't immersed in their concern. He didn't dare to forget how he had come so far. Only by cultivating and increasing his strength could he truly control his own destiny. All right, Ming Kong, Cold Plum, I'll leave Ling Xiao to you. The rest of you, follow me to the Heaven Essence Pagoda and continue cultivating. Lan Yu was truly unwilling to leave. However, she knew very well that with her current cultivation, she wasn't even qualified to protect Ling Xiao. Therefore, she had to make the best use of her time to cultivate. Haim, Miankeo, and Cold Plum were the strongest among them. It was enough for them to stay here. Cold Plum, give Senior Lan some Heaven Essence crystals. I don't need that much. Ling Xiao's cultivation had broken through to the early stage of the Avalon of 5 elements. Although the lower-grade Heaven Essence crystals were still effective, their effects were minimal. Therefore, it was useless to keep them by his side. It was better to let those who truly cared about him use them to increase their strength. I understand. Cold Plum gave the Heaven Essence crystals to Lan Yu. As for how to distribute them, Lan Yu would figure it out herself. Cold Plum didn't need to trouble herself. Are you really okay? Haim, Miankeo, looked at the man lying on the bed and felt that fate was a strange thing. In the past, she had almost become Ling Xiao's enemy. Now, she was guarding this man by his bedside. She didn't feel that anything was wrong. Instead, she felt that it was normal. What could have happened? I just killed a blood skeleton. It's just that old dog Sikong Zun is too strong and caused me to suffer some serious internal injuries. I need some time to recover. Ling Xiao didn't need to hide anything. After experiencing life and death from the Heavenly Dragon continent to the Divine Phoenix continent, if he couldn't even trust Haim Miankeo and Cold Plum, who else could he trust? Those people from the Phoenix Academy are really shameless. Cold Plum snorted coldly, her eyes filled with murderous intent. Her second martial soul was originally a powerful assassin, So the current her really wanted to use this second martial soul to kill a few more divine Phoenix Academy disciples. In terms of shamelessness, we are naturally inferior to them. However, in terms of strength, we are also inferior. Miankeo sighed and said, "The reason why they dared to do such shameless things is because we are not strong enough. If not for the help of those Jianghu people today, I'm afraid that Ling Xiao would have been doomed. It's rare for you to be able to see through this." Ling Xiao sighed and said, "What happened today was very dangerous. However, it also taught us a lot of things. Without strength, everything is meaningless. So, the two of you shouldn't waste any more time. The Heavenly Essence Treasure Pagoda is a good place for cultivation. You must increase your cultivation as soon as possible. We understand." Miankeo and Cold Plum nodded. "Since you understand, let's not idle around. Bring me to the Heavenly Essence Treasure Pagoda. Let's go straight to the 5th floor. I believe that after the Blood Skull was killed, no one will dare to provoke us. Although I'm injured, I still have the two of you as my bodyguards." Ling Xiao smiled and said, "Okay." The three of them headed to the Heavenly Essence Treasure Pagoda together. The Phoenix Academy disciples avoided them when they saw them. They were obviously very afraid. Now that everyone here knew that Ling Xiao had injured Phoenix Cry, Wanchong, and Sikong Zun, who would dare to provoke him. The three of them entered their respective rooms to cultivate. In Ling Xiao's room, a little butterfly flew out and revealed an innocent and cute expression. "Thank you for today. If it wasn't for you, I'm afraid that those people from the Phoenix Academy wouldn't have been able to intimidate them. Tell me what you want to eat, and I'll get it for you." He still didn't know much about the butterfly girl. The only thing he knew was that the butterfly girl was a foodie and her favorite food was spiritual stones. Although Ling Xiao had a huge burden because of this, he felt that it was worth it. With such a little girl by his side, not only would it bring him a lot of happiness, but it would also make him feel at ease. "You want to eat high-grade spiritual stones?" Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment and couldn't help but smile bitterly. "You really dare to ask for it. But for you, I'll bear the pain and part with it." Ling Xiao had very few high-grade spiritual stones, and he was basically saving them for future cultivation. But since the butterfly girl liked to eat, he couldn't be stingy. At this stage, the butterfly girl was his trump card. He gave the butterfly girl 1 high-grade spiritual stone, 2 middle-grade spiritual stones, and 10,000 low-grade spiritual stones. Ling Xiao began to recuperate at the side, although he had a lot of questions in his heart. For example, who were his parents? Why did Feng Yinshan, Feng Yanran, and Feng Qinyan treat him like a benefactor? Could it be that his parents had helped them in some way? Many questions lingered in his heart, but he completely put them aside when he was cultivating. His greatest strength was that he was able to focus on doing one thing well. He wouldn't change his mind. Very quickly, he entered a state of cultivation. At first, he was just recovering from his injuries. This entire process took him nearly a week. A yin-yang realm expert was indeed a yin-yang realm expert. The damage he caused was really terrifying. Although Ling Xiao had always said that it was nothing, in reality it was really serious. Fortunately, his recovery ability was outstanding, and he had the help of the Mountain River Martial Soul. He only started cultivating after a week. Of course, the most important thing was to consolidate his cultivation in the early stage of the Avalon of 5 elements, and to perfectly master the Doomsday Taotai move. When he used it to deal with the blood skeleton, that move wasn't particularly perfect. Next, he had to be more proficient in it. In the universe formed by black and white, a huge shadow occupied the void. At this moment, the Taotai beast was still in its infancy and couldn't be seen very clearly. However, that terrifying power was still constantly being released. A huge black beast. Heaven-devouring, titanic beast. Destruction, titanic beast. It was rumored that it could easily swallow the mystic world. although it wasn't real and was just a virtual image condensed by the light and shadow ultimacy of the mountain river martial soul. However, as Ling Zhao's cultivation continued to increase, he believed that this huge beast would become stronger and stronger. At that time, the Doomsday Taotia's power would also continue to increase. This was already beyond the concept of traditional martial arts. Ling Zhao's soul merged into the huge beast's body and started to understand the terrifying will that could destroy everything. Time passed very quickly, especially when one was cultivating. The passage of time was almost imperceptible. In the blink of an eye, another week passed. Ling Zhao's soul was still in the Taotai beast's body and was enveloped by the powerful will of destruction. It was constantly being tempered and strengthened. In the small cultivation room, the destruction sword essence was constantly being released. Many scratches appeared on the surrounding walls that were protected by the formation. The butterfly lady looked at Ling Zhao in shock. She seemed to be puzzled. How could the youth in front of her be so much stronger than he was a week ago? His cultivation had only increased by a small realm, reaching the middle stage of the Avalon of 5 elements. Chapter 986. The terrifying destructive sword intent wreaked havoc in the entire cultivation room. However, this destructive sword intent wasn't released by Ling Zhao himself, but came from the mountain river martial spirit. Ling Zhao was still in the beginning stages of excavating this treasury. Until now, he was just like a toddler. However, what was interesting was that even with such a powerful sword intent, the butterfly girl didn't seem to be afraid at all. All the sword intents that hit her body were easily dissolved, as if they couldn't cause any damage. If Ling Zhao were to see this special physique, he would definitely be very shocked. However, Ling Zhao was completely immersed in cultivation at this time and was completely unaware of what was happening outside. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. The spring festival was getting closer and closer, but for many people, this spring festival might not be easy. For example, Piping Island. In the month that Ling Zhao was cultivating, Piping Island was besieged by experts from the Divine Phoenix Empire and the Black Crow Empire, as well as many other islands. In the end, even the island sank to the bottom of the sea. Piping Island was completely destroyed. However, it was said that the young master of Piping Island, Chu, was rescued by a mysterious person and disappeared. However, not many people cared about Chu. After all, Piping Island was destroyed, and these people were relieved. Other than a few people who were still looking for Chumu's whereabouts, the rest put this matter aside. For example, the Phoenix Academy wasn't doing well either. Ling Zhao broke the arms of the 2 vice deans, which seriously affected the Academy's reputation. In order to boost the Academy's reputation and take revenge on Qingshu College, under Emperor Miraculous Han Sunshang's hard work, the Heaven Reversal Pill of good quality and cheap price was refined. The Heaven Reversal Pill was useful to every martial artist. It was mainly used to recover heavenly elemental energy. Of course, it could also be used to recover true elemental energy, true qi, and so on. As long as it was inner energy, it could be recovered. The effect was also very good. Coupled with the fact that it wasn't expensive, it became a hot pill in the Imperial City and even the entire Divine Phoenix Empire. Not to mention other places. Just within the Imperial City, the Phoenix Academy basically took over Qingshu College's pill market by relying on the Heaven Reversal Pill. Without this market, Qingshu College would not only lose face and honor, but also a large amount of income. Without this income, many students left Qingshu College and joined Phoenix Academy. After all, academies were different from sections. One could choose to withdraw from them. Although it was morally despicable, there was nothing wrong with the rules. Because of this, the higher-ups of Qingshu College had a headache. Ling Zhao naturally didn't know about these things. After a month of cultivation, not only had his injuries healed, but his entire body's essence, energy, and spirit had also improved significantly. His cultivation had also risen to the peak of the Avalon of 5 elements. As for whether he could break through to the six arts realm, that would depend on fate. Just like the transcendent realm, the further one advanced in the heaven realm, the more difficult it became to break through. After all, the requirements for energy and comprehension would continue to accumulate. When he came out of seclusion, Haim Miankeo and the others were still cultivating. Therefore, he returned to Qingshu College alone. As soon as he returned, he saw a gloomy scene. The number of students in the college had decreased significantly. In the past, there were at least 30 to 40,000 students. Now, there were at most 10,000 students left. On the way, he met Feng Qingyan and was about to greet him, but he saw that Feng Qingyan didn't stop at all. It was as if he didn't see him and brushed past him with a frown. At that moment, Ling Xiao could clearly feel the anger and displeasure in Feng Qingyan's body. What happened? Even Vice Dean Qingyan, who is always open-minded about everything, is so impatient? Ling Xiao was stunned and puzzled. He wanted to chase after Feng Qingyan to ask, but he had already disappeared. Ling Xiao, you're out. At that moment, a slightly anxious voice sounded. Ling Xiao turned around and saw Feng Yanran, who was dressed in red. Oh, it's Miss Yanran. Ling Xiao had a good impression of Feng Yanran. Other than the time when they had just arrived at the imperial city, Feng Yanran basically protected him no matter what happened. Just based on this, he had to be polite to Feng Yanran. This is the secret healing medicine of our fiery phoenix tribe. Take it. I wasn't able to help you last time. I've made you suffer. Feng Yanran sighed. At that moment, there were students passing by. When they saw that the dignified Princess Yanran of the Fire Phoenix tribe was giving something to an ordinary student, they were envious and jealous. The anxiety on their faces seemed to have lessened. Thank you. Ling Xiao smiled as he took the healing medicine from her. Although he had recovered from his injuries, he couldn't refuse her. Seeing that Ling Xiao had accepted her gift, Feng Yanran was also in a good mood. On her pretty face, a blush actually floated. Cough, cough, that Miss Yanran. Did something happen in the academy recently? Why do I feel that everyone is so worried and anxious? Ling Xiao coughed twice to resolve the ambiguous awkwardness and hurriedly changed the topic. Speaking of this, Feng Yanran shook her head helplessly. That's true. Since the Phoenix Academy lost face last time, their heavenly master Miraculous Han Sunshang refined the Crisis Reversal Elixir, which is a cheap and high-quality elixir. The key is that this elixir is not only affordable but also effective. Moreover, it's produced in large quantities and is very popular among warriors. Feng Yanran continued. Because of this, the elixir market of Qingshu College has almost been completely squeezed and shrunk. You also know that the economic foundation determines the superstructure. Without money, the academy can't do anything. Because of this, many students chose to leave Qingshu College. Under the coercion and temptation of the Phoenix Academy, they chose to join them. Alas, in just 1 month, many things have changed. Now we're having a hard time. No wonder I saw Vice Principal Qin Yan's face was so ugly. Ling Xiao could not help but laugh. Taking advantage of the time when I was in seclusion to come up with so many things, looks like this divine Phoenix Academy is really indignant about the previous matter. It's just a mere Sunshang. At most he's a yellow high-level alchemist. How could he overturn the heavens? A yellow-level advanced alchemist is not in your eyes? Feng Yanran looked at Ling Xiao in surprise. As everyone knew, after elixirs were graded, there were 4 grades: heaven, earth, black, and yellow. Each grade was further divided into 5 small grades: low, medium, high, top, and super. Alchemists and alchemists were also divided according to the grade of elixirs they could refine. For example, those who could refine yellow-level advanced alchemists were called yellow-level advanced alchemists. Sunshang was an alchemist of this level, and he was called the best in the Sky Dragon Continent and Divine Phoenix Continent. It was said that no one was better than him. Chapter 987. Perhaps in the eyes of others, Sun Shang was so high and mighty that it was astonishing. In the heavenly dragon continent and the divine phoenix continent, he was simply the only alchemist in demand. No one could be compared to him. However, Ling Xiao did not take him seriously. As long as Ling Xiao had enough materials, it would not be a problem for him to concoct a yellow-grade super pill. Therefore, he did not care about Sun Shang. Miss Yanran, go to Vice Dean Qingyan and tell them not to worry. This matter is related to me. I will help you deal with it. Ling Xiao smiled. Anything that went against Divine Phoenix Academy, he was more than happy to do. After parting with Feng Yanran, Ling Xiao put on a simple disguise, left the Qingshu Academy, and ran towards the busiest elixir market in the imperial city. As a student of Qingshu College, Ling Xiao did not want his college to be suppressed. Moreover, Feng Qingyan had helped him a lot last time. He had to return the favor. Moreover, they had escaped from the Sky Dragon continent to the Divine Phoenix continent. Qingshu College had given them the right to be disciples. People should always have the heart to repay a debt of gratitude. This time he had to help Qingshu College. Of course, more importantly, he wanted to take this opportunity to suppress Sun Shang. He wanted to give this guy who was fishing for fame a heavy blow. However, he had not figured out how to do it. Therefore, he planned to wander around the market to understand the situation. Then he would think about what to do. In the past, this market belonged to the Phoenix Academy. The other half belonged to Qingshu College. However, today, when Ling Xiao entered the market, he found that most of Qingshu College's market had been bought or leased by the Phoenix Academy. In the whole market, only a corner of Qingshu College's shop was left. There were almost no customers. Looking at the Phoenix Academy's shops and stalls, although there were many, they were overcrowded. The deafening noise made him shake his head. These guests were basically celestial realm martial artists. In the Divine Phoenix continent, heaven-tier martial artists were the mainstream. As long as one could grab hold of this market, they would basically be able to make a steady profit. When a martial artist was in the process of fighting or carrying out a mission, the easiest thing to consume was inner energy. If one were to use spirit stones to replenish it, not only would it be too slow, it would also not be easy to convert it. Other medicinal pills could also be used, but they were either too expensive or their effects were not very good. Until now, the Divine Phoenix continent didn't have any kind of pill that was specifically used to recover inner strength. It was precisely because of this that the appearance of the reverse pill completely became a hot-selling divine medicine, occupying the market in one fell swoop. Don't underestimate this heaven reversal pill. A single pill might be able to save a life. With inner strength, it didn't matter if it was escaping or healing, they could do it. Without inner strength, even if you weren't injured, you would become a target for others to slaughter. Line up, line up! Those behind, keep up. Those who bought something, don't just stand there. Quickly leave. The shouts of the Phoenix Academy staff came from inside. Although the weather was cold, they were sweating profusely and were in a good mood. I want 10 heaven reversal pills. Give me 100 pills. 50 pills. The martial artists who bought the heaven reversal pills hurriedly left in excitement. Those who didn't buy it anxiously waited there. In any case, the production of this heaven reversal pill was very high, so they weren't afraid of not being able to buy it. I'd like to see what kind of miraculous pill this heaven reversal pill of yours is, to actually be so popular. Ling Xiao also squeezed into the crowd and lined up to buy a bottle of 50 heaven reversal pills. The cost was really not much. One heaven reversal pill only cost 1 low-grade spirit stone, so 50 pills were only 50 spirit stones. For the majority of heaven realm martial artists, this was not a problem at all. It was just that the attitude of the staff selling medicine at the Phoenix Academy wasn't very good. Each and every one of them acted as if they were extremely arrogant. There was no one else with this kind of service attitude. Of course, this attitude was not only directed at him, but almost every martial artist was like this. Obviously, They felt that the Heaven Reversal pill had no competitors in the market, so naturally they could flaunt their prowess. He even heard a shop assistant say something like, "Buy it if you don't want it. If you don't want to buy it, get lost." Ling Xiao couldn't help but laugh in his heart. With such an attitude, as long as Qingshu College had a pill with similar effects and their attitude was slightly better, they could quickly take back the market. There was no need to be afraid of the market here being bought. Anyway, the imperial city was very big. At worst, they could just open another market. For things like pills, as long as the effect was good, there was no need to advertise at all. Naturally, there would be people to advertise for you. After finding a place with fewer people, Ling Xiao opened the bottle of the Heaven Reversal pill and gently sniffed it. Then he swallowed a Heaven Reversal pill into his stomach and couldn't help but frown. This thing is not bad, but the medicinal effect is still too weak. Probably in order to reduce the cost, they didn't use any special medicinal materials. Ling Xiao cursed in his heart. This Sun Shang was really black-hearted. He previously thought that this Heaven Reversal pill was good and cheap, but now his thoughts had completely changed. 100 of such pills actually cost 100 low-grade spirit stones. If he were to refine it with the cost, he was afraid that he wouldn't even use a single low-grade spirit stone. Many of the things could even be bought with gold and silver from ordinary people. Huge profits. Absolutely huge profits. This was the advantage of technology. If you still think that a pill that couldn't even be bought with a single low-grade spirit stone was cheap for 100 low-grade spirit stones, it was because you didn't know how to refine pills or medicine. Hee, Sun Shang, you're so black-hearted. You've given me a good opportunity to turn the tables. Ling Xiao laughed. As long as his pills were slightly better, the price was slightly cheaper, and then a little publicity and hype, what could Sun Shang use to compete with him? Originally, he felt that this kind of low-grade pill was cheap when he refined it. However, for the sake of Qingshu College, in order to attack Sun Shang and Phoenix Academy, he would lower his price this time. It was also a merit to be able to benefit many martial artists. After killing so many people and occasionally doing good deeds, he felt much better in his heart. I might as well go to the Heavenly Dragon Auction House to get the materials. Princess Yunya is quite capable. There should be no problem at all if I go to her. This time, Ling Xiao simply didn't hide his true identity. Anyway, the smart Yunya might have already guessed that the powerful alchemist was related to him. Although she might not know that it was him, she would definitely be polite to him. As he expected, when the people of the Heavenly Dragon Auction House saw Ling Xiao, they immediately politely welcomed him into the VIP room and reported to Yunya at the same time. Yunya deliberately changed into a beautiful and enchanting dress to meet Ling Xiao. She was extremely interested in this mysterious young man, the chosen one of the Heavenly Dragon Continent. Chapter 988. Young Hero Ling, what brings you here today? What happened in the square a month ago is still vivid in my mind. I can't get your heroic bearing out of my mind for a long time. This princess really knew how to talk. Her flattery was also very skillful. Princess Yunya, you flatter me. I'm here this time for no other reason than to trouble you to help me find something. Ling Xiao didn't come here to flirt or bond with others, so he went straight to the point and took out the list he had prepared beforehand. In addition to the required medicinal materials, there was also a design drawing of the medicine's packaging. Clothes make the man, and saddles make the horse. The packaging of the elixir was also important. A good packaging could immediately improve the quality of the elixir. Although it didn't have any practical use, warriors really liked it. In fact, the packaging was not worth much, but a good packaging could make the elixir sell better. Young Hero Ling, do you want these things to refine elixirs? Yunya asked with a smile. Ling Xiao nodded and said, that's right. In fact, with your intelligence, it shouldn't be difficult to guess. During the time I was in seclusion, Phoenix Academy was aggressive and wanted to completely destroy Qingshu College. I didn't intend to bully them, but I couldn't stand it anymore. This time, if I don't completely squeeze Phoenix Academy out of the elixir market, I, Ling Xiao, will write my name backwards. Young hero Ling, you want to refine elixirs? Not that, old man. Yunya was stunned and asked, Why? Is there a difference? Ling Xiao's words were already very obvious. It was just that Yunya couldn't believe that Ling Xiao was actually such a powerful alchemist, so she didn't think in that direction at all. Now she still thought that Ling Xiao was apprenticed to that master. Ling Xiao didn't explain much. In fact, this kind of misunderstanding was not bad. It was actually very good to let others misunderstand that you had someone behind you. Haha, there's no difference. Since young hero Ling needs these things, we'll try our best to get them. Yunya said with a smile. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, It's best if you can get it now. I can pay more. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't have the materials. Get a batch first and take your time. Young hero Ling, you must be joking. How can we let you pay more? According to our previous agreement, the items you purchase from the Heavenly Dragon Auction House will be sold at the lowest discount. You only need to pay half the price. Yunya was really determined to help Ling Xiao. After all, the list that Ling Xiao gave involved more than 100,000 low-grade spiritual stones. Most importantly, they didn't have that many materials in stock, and they had been supplying the Phoenix Academy recently. Now that Ling Xiao wanted so much at once, it was actually very difficult for her, but she still agreed. In her opinion, she would rather abandon her partner, the Phoenix Academy, to capture Ling Xiao. It wasn't just because of the alchemist behind Ling Xiao. More importantly, the existence of the Heavenly Dragon Auction House was actually to complete a major plan. Ling Xiao might be a key part of this plan. For this plan, it was worth it to make less money. Princess Yunya is really straightforward. How about this? Help me prepare 100 mid-grade Heavenly Spirit elixirs. Ling Xiao thought about it and said, The mid-grade Heavenly Spirit elixir was a high-grade yellow-grade elixir. Only a high-grade yellow-grade alchemist could refine it. This grade of elixir was the highest grade that Sun Shang could refine. The materials for a high-grade yellow-grade elixir were very expensive. Compared to the materials on Ling Xiao's list, it was more than 1,000 times more expensive. All of a sudden, Yunya was enraged. I'm giving you some benefits, and you want to take advantage of me? Isn't this too much? Although she was furious, the expression on her face didn't change at all. This woman was really powerful. After weighing the pros and cons, she finally gritted her teeth and said, Well, since young hero Ling has asked, Yunya will naturally do it for you. As the saying goes, you can't trap a wolf without sacrificing your child, and you can't trap a pervert without sacrificing your wife. Anyway, she had already given him so many benefits, so she didn't mind giving him more. It was better than Ling Xiao being taken away by others. But even so, she was still unhappy. Even looking at Ling Xiao's face, she didn't look so cute anymore. Princess Yunya, are you angry? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. How could I be? Yunya shook her head and said calmly, It's inevitable that I'm angry. If it were me, I would also be angry at people who want a yard after taking an inch. But your highness probably misunderstood. Among these 100 mid-grade Heavenly Spirit elixirs, 50 of them are for the Heavenly Dragon Auction House. You only need to provide the materials. The remaining 50 will be my service fee. That's not too much, right? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. Not too much, not too much. It's more than not too much. It's simply too good. Yunya's expression finally went out of control at this moment. She was so happy that she couldn't control it. After all, she was only a human. Although she could control her emotions, how could she control herself when she encountered such a good thing? It should be known that in the Heavenly Dragon Continent and the Divine Phoenix Continent, as far as she knew, Sun Shang was probably the only one who could refine high-grade Heavenly Spirit elixirs. She had also gone to find Sun Shang, hoping that he could help her refine some high-grade Heavenly Spirit elixirs. Sun Shang didn't refuse, but he demanded an exorbitant price. Moreover, it was a price that was simply unacceptable. The key was that the success rate of refining wasn't high. The utilization rate of the herbs was less than 40%, and the rest were all wasted. Thinking of this, she suddenly looked at Ling Xiao and asked, "Young hero Ling, how many times do you need to refine 100 high-grade, heavenly spirit elixirs?" If he needed too many materials, this deal might not be worth it. If it was Sun Shang, he would need at least twice as many materials. She didn't know how much Ling Xiao would be able to do. What times? 100 high-grade, heavenly spirit elixirs require as many materials as I need. Ling Xiao said, a little puzzled. "Don't tell me that your success rate is 100%. Palace Master Yun looked at Ling Xiao as if she had seen a ghost. Ling Xiao sighed and said, "If the success rate of refining elixirs of this level can't reach 100%, then I've lived in vain." With the mountain and river martial spirit, if there was still a situation where materials were wasted, then Ling Xiao might as well find a pool and jump into it to commit suicide. That would be too embarrassing. "Young hero Ling, you're not joking?" Yunya found it hard to believe. If that was the case, then she would earn even more. "Princess Yunya, do I look like I'm joking? All right, if you're willing, then go and get the materials. If you're not, then forget it. I'm still in a hurry." Ling Xiao said helplessly. He was obviously telling the truth. But why didn't anyone believe him? Chapter 989. Please wait for a moment, young hero Ling. I'll get someone to prepare the materials right away. Yunya turned around and left excitedly. She almost tripped over the threshold. This kind of thing had never happened before. About an hour later, Yunya returned with a storage ring in her hand. She said, "The items that young hero Ling needs are all in here. You just need to return the storage ring after you use it. Of course, if you like this storage ring, you can keep it for yourself." "No need. I can't possibly keep taking advantage of you guys. A storage ring isn't cheap, especially since this storage ring of yours seems to be equivalent to an immortal grade prized artifact. If I were to accept it, wouldn't I owe you guys a favor?" Ling Xiao smiled and transferred the materials into the mountain river realm. Anyway, to outsiders, it looked like he had put them into the storage ring. After returning the storage ring to Yunya, Ling Xiao said, "Then I'll leave first. After the middle grade Heaven Spirit Divine pill is successfully refined, I'll personally send it to you. Don't worry." "No problem." Yunya hurriedly nodded. The more she interacted with Ling Xiao, the more she felt that this Ling Xiao was mysterious and powerful. She even admired him. It was rare for Yunya to admire a young man of his age. "Humph, this young man is so arrogant." Suddenly, a cold snort came from outside the door. The person who walked in was an old man in green. He was about 50 years old. "Why are you angry, Medicine Master Lu? He's not the one refining it. It's the mysterious person behind him," Yunya said with a smile. Medicine Master Lu was a professional medicine master at the Heavenly Dragon Auction House. He was responsible for refining medicine and elixirs. He was a middle-grade, yellow-grade medicine master. Although he was not as good as Sun Shang, he was still very powerful. After hearing Ling Xiao's words, he was really angry. After all, if he wanted to refine a middle-grade, yellow-grade elixir, he only had a 50% success rate. Ling Xiao actually said that he could refine a high-grade, yellow-grade elixir with a 100% success rate. Wasn't this a slap to his face? Even if it's the person behind him, can he be more powerful than Sun Shang? Medicine Master Lu said with disdain. "Medicine Master Lu, there's always someone better than you. Nothing is absolute." Yunya still felt that the mysterious person behind Ling Xiao's back was definitely of a higher level than Sun Shang. Otherwise, how could he have such a high success rate when refining high-grade yellow-level pills? Don't be delusional. If he's really someone more formidable than Sun Shang, why would he hide his head and show his tail? People of that level would be treated as VIPs even if they went to the Five Immortals Island. What benefits would they not get? You actually want to help a child with the cultivation of heaven tier? Medicine Master Lu shook his head and said resolutely, Life is unpredictable. It's just that I was angry just now. That was a big mistake. I'm afraid that his good impression of me will have some flaws. Sigh, will he think that I'm a stingy woman? Yin, you didn't care about pharmacist Lu's words. Instead, she felt that she wasn't generous enough to Ling Xiao. Previously, she was angry because of some low-level spirit stones. Although she didn't show it, the other party obviously felt it. You're already generous enough. If the alchemist behind that kid doesn't reach the high-grade yellow level, you'll be punished by the higher-ups. Medicine Master Lu snorted coldly and turned to leave. Short-sighted, Yunya looked at the swaying curtain and scolded disdainfully. She naturally knew that there was also competition within the Heavenly Dragon Auction House. It was because of this that she wanted to catch Ling Xiao. She couldn't let others snatch him away. On the way back to Qingshu College, Ling Xiao's higher-ups were almost scratching their heads because of the matter of the pills. Divine Phoenix Academy has really gone too far this time. Although the two great academies usually have conflicts, they wouldn't do it so openly. This is blatantly snatching away our business and forcing us into a dead end. We can't continue to condone this. The one who spoke was another vice dean of Qingshu College. Unlike Feng Qingyan, this person's temper wasn't very good. He could be said to have a fiery temper. Therefore, he was also known as the Fiery Thunderbolt. Although he wasn't a member of the Phoenix clan, he was an expert from a magical island. His status wasn't low. At this moment, it was obvious that he was extremely angry. He smashed the table in front of him with his palm, but he still couldn't calm down. Feng Qingyan also said coldly, Qingshu College is now losing money in the pill market. We can't make any money at all. Sometimes, we even have to lose money before people are willing to come. It's really a case of everyone kicking a man who's down. The most hateful thing is that some students whom we treated well actually chose to run away at this critical moment. Fine, if you want to run away, then run away. However, you chose to join the Phoenix Academy. How despicable. At the mention of this matter, Feng Qingyan became even angrier. It's fine if the ordinary students ran away. What I can't stand the most is that Shimin Bummy, who is ranked first in our academy, actually ran away. He really brought along a very bad leader with him. A white-bearded old man at the head of the table said indifferently he was persuaded by Piao Shui Fengming. That girl is relying on her family background. She's really looking down on us old bones more and more. Isn't she from the Ice Phoenix clan? Feng Qingyan asked doubtfully. No, she was just raised by the Ice Phoenix clan since she was young. In fact, she's the little princess of Changle, Celestial Island. The white-bearded old man explained. Don't worry about her. The most troublesome thing now is the pill problem. If we don't solve this problem, our economy will collapse. Do any of you have any good ideas? If not, I'll bring some people to kill Sunshang. Hoboli suggested. Although you're quite strong, it's impossible to kill Sunshang. He's always been protected by an Yin-Yang realm expert. Not to mention, he's also a top expert of the Grotto Heaven realm. The white-bearded old man shook his head. What should we do, Dean? If this continues, Qingshu College will really be destroyed. Hoboli said anxiously. We won't be destroyed. The Crown Prince of the Hidden Mountain will definitely think of a way. However, we shouldn't add to his troubles at this juncture. So, we have to think of a solution ourselves. The white-bearded old man shook his head. It'll be great if we can find a powerful alchemist to fight against Sunshang. Feng Qingyan muttered to himself. That's easy for you to say. Sunshang is an advanced yellow-grade alchemist. Unless we can invite someone from Changle Celestial Island, we won't be able to find a better alchemist than Sunshang. Hoboli snorted coldly and said, In the end, it's all that Ling Zhao's fault. If it weren't for him, the Phoenix Academy wouldn't be so ruthless. Are you afraid? Feng Qingyan sneered. Afraid? I'm not afraid. I just think that Ling Xiao should stand up and think of a solution. He shouldn't hide. That's how a man should act. Huoboli said loudly. Chapter 990. Both of you stop arguing. Internal strife is useless. As for Ling Xiao, what can you expect from him? He's just a warrior in the heaven realm. Even if he knows how to refine pills, can he refine better pills than Sun Shang? The white-bearded elder waved his hand and said, All right, let's go. If there's really no other way, I can only use my trump card. Sigh, but once that thing is revealed, the crown prince of the Secret Mountain sect will be exposed. I really don't want to use it until the last moment. Obviously, from the white-bearded elder's point of view, even if Ling Xiao stepped forward to take over the matter, it would be meaningless. Dean, don't be anxious. Didn't the Heavenly Dragon Auction House auction off a perfect grade Heavenly Spirit Divine pill a few days ago? Although it was only a middle yellow grade medicinal pill, even Sun Shang couldn't refine a perfect grade medicinal pill like that. I'll go look for Yunya. Maybe I can contact this alchemist. Feng Qingyan hurriedly said. The white-bearded elder nodded and said, All right, let's hope it's successful. Ling Xiao didn't know about the dispute between the Qingshu College's higher-ups. He didn't need to know. He knew very well that as long as the pill he refined was released, the Phoenix Academy's crisis reversal pill would be wasted. No matter how much he said, it couldn't compare to his alchemy skills. In the next few days, Ling Xiao spent all his energy on refining pills and didn't have time to cultivate at the Heaven Essence Treasure Pagoda. 10 days later, 100,000 perfect grade crisis reversal pills were successfully refined. They were both yellow grade pills, but the crisis reversal pill's effects were twice as good. It could also restore internal energy and physical strength. Most importantly, in terms of consumption, it was exactly the same as Sun Shang's crisis reversal pill if the labor costs were excluded. In other words, the cost was the same, but the product was twice as good. If the price was exactly the same, the competition was self-evident. Of course, other than successfully refining these pills, what surprised Ling Xiao the most was that his cultivation level had actually increased continuously during the process of refining pills. Now that he had reached the peak of the Avalon of 5 elements, he reckoned that he would be able to break through with just a little bit of stimulation. This kind of accumulation was also very precious. While Ling Xiao was refining pills, Feng Qingyan went to look for Yunya. Unfortunately, he didn't get any useful help from Yunya. In the Imperial City, the conflict between Phoenix Academy and Qingshu College had reached its climax. It was like a taut bowstring that could shoot out the sword of war at any time. Qingshu College, which was already at a disadvantage in the competition for elixirs, suffered a serious blow 2 days ago. Among the disciples, Li Qingxiu, who was ranked second, left Qingshu College and joined Phoenix Academy. At the same time, the Phoenix Academy completely monopolized the elixir market in the Imperial City. Not only that, but the Phoenix Academy was also buying medicinal herbs at a high price and hoarding them. They were ready to exhaust Qingshu College completely. Faced with this heavy blow, the dean of Qingshu College was ready to take the last step. However, once he took this step, there was no turning back. Moreover, even if they won, they would suffer great losses. At this point, they had no other choice. Originally, Qingshu College and Phoenix Academy didn't want to go to war because they were evenly matched. However, during this period of time, the Phoenix Academy's strength kept skyrocketing, and this balance was broken. In addition, the Phoenix Academy obtained a large amount of income from elixirs. Taking advantage of this opportunity, they continued to expand their influence and openly poach students from Qingshu College. This war seemed inevitable. Mother asterisk her, I can't stand it anymore. It's only been 10 days, and our Qingsu Academy has lost another 2,000 students, including 10 people from the elite class, especially the second-ranked Li Qingxiu. She also ran away. Our market share in the Imperial City has been completely occupied. Now we can only rely on some small businesses and the mineral veins outside to survive. If this continues, sooner or later, something big will happen. In the high-level meeting room, Flame Thunderbolt couldn't hold back his temper anymore. I'd rather die standing than die like a coward. Today, there were even more people sitting in the meeting room. In addition to the 3 deans, there were also the heads of various departments. At this moment, most of them were burning with anger. Of course, there were also some who were secretly happy. These people were naturally the spies planted by Phoenix Academy in Qingshu College. However, on the surface, they seemed to be united against a common enemy. Dean, give the order. There's no room for hesitation. This time, Phoenix Academy wants to completely destroy Qingshu College. Feng Qingyan had no other choice. Deputy Deans, why are you so muddle-headed? Phoenix Academy has made a condition before. As long as we hand over Ling Xiao and his accomplices, they won't kill us. They will leave 10% of the market share for Qingshu College. At this moment, a martial artist with a goatee said with a smile, Yang Yijuan, Bulsh *T. We, Qingshu College, are not cowards. Even at the last moment, we will never betray our own disciples. Hubili said furiously, Dean Hua, there's no need to be angry. I'm just proposing a method that's most beneficial to our Qingshu Academy. If this continues, I'm afraid the Qingshu Academy will be finished. Are we really going to destroy the Qingshu Academy's foundation for a human of unknown origin? Yang Yijuan smiled faintly. Shut up. How dare you say such words? If a college loses its spirit, even if it is still standing here, it will only be an empty shell. How dare you say such words again? Believe it or not, I will slap you to death. Even the calm Feng Qingyan was annoyed by Yang Yijuan. He glared at Yang Yijuan and shouted angrily, Forget it, I won't say anything. However, the 2 vice principals have to be clear on one point. The Divine Phoenix Academy has a high yellow rank alchemist, Sun Shang. If you don't have such a helper, then don't even think about contending against them. Even a monarch would not choose to help our Clear Void Academy. Yang Yijuan sneered. I'm afraid the 2 of you know the value of advanced yellow-level alchemist better than I do. This time, Feng Qingyan and Hubili did not refute. Yang Yijuan's words were not pleasant to hear, but they were the truth. In the Sky Dragon continent and Divine Phoenix continent, Sun Shang was probably the only advanced yellow-level alchemist. At least that was the case for now. He was more than rare, he was simply one of a kind. Moreover, the more powerful an alchemist was, the more popular they were. Even though his cultivation was not very high, he might have countless experts backing him up. If you went against him, as long as he didn't die, these experts would group up and cause trouble for you. Not to mention the Divine Phoenix Empire. Even the 5 great immortal islands would not dare to provoke advanced yellow-level alchemist. This was the reality. Chapter 991. Why don't we just listen to Mr. Yang and hand over Ling Xiao? After a long silence, someone proposed this idea. That's right. Ling Xiao is just someone from the Tianlong continent. After joining Qingshu College, he hasn't made any contributions. Instead, he has caused a lot of trouble for us. What's the use of keeping him? That's right. As long as we hand over Ling Xiao and his accomplices, Qingshu College can be saved. Perhaps someone had taken the lead, and several people successively proposed the same idea. The white-bearded old man sat at the head of the table and looked at these people carefully. Then a cold smile flashed in his eyes. He memorized the names of these people. Qingshu College didn't need people who could say such things. The white-bearded old man was about to say something when suddenly someone rushed in and reported, Dean, Ling Xiao is here. He said that he has something important to discuss with the higher-ups. What is he doing here? He's just causing trouble, Hoboli said unhappily. Haha, Maybe he's willing to hand himself over. Yang Yijuan laughed. That's right. It's okay to let him in. Are we afraid that a warrior in the celestial realm will sneak up on us? Someone chimed in. Dean, I suddenly thought of something. Why don't we let Ling Xiao in? When I went to see Yinya the other day, she reminded me many times to build a good relationship with Ling Xiao. I didn't pay attention to it at that time. Now that I think about it, maybe there's something going on here. Feng Qingyan suddenly said. Well, then let Ling Xiao in. He's also a member of Phoenix Academy. Let's hear what he has to say. The white-bearded old man didn't want Ling Xiao to come in, mainly because he was afraid that Ling Xiao would be unhappy to hear the gossip. After all, he knew Ling Xiao's true identity and didn't want Ling Xiao to feel sad. However, Feng Qingyan's words changed his mind. After a while, Ling Xiao walked in, wearing the Academy's special uniform. Although they were wearing the same clothes, when he wore them, they gave off a dazzling feeling. It was probably because his physical body cultivation was among the best among all the disciples. Disciple Ling Xiao greets the dean, vice dean, and teachers. Although Ling Xiao was here to give her warmth, he still acted very respectfully. He didn't look arrogant at all. Looking at Ling Xiao walking into the meeting hall, Feng Qingyan asked, Ling Xiao, the outside world is not stable recently. Ling Xiao smiled and said, Because the Academy is in trouble as a student of the Qingshu Academy. How can I not repay the Academy's kindness? Huoboli waved his hand. He was satisfied with Ling Xiao's attitude, but he didn't think highly of Ling Xiao's ability. That's not necessarily true. Ling Xiao smiled and said, Dean, can I sit down and talk? I've been so busy recently that my back is aching. What a joke. Everyone here is the senior management of the Academy. What right does a student like you have to sit here? What's more, it's all because of you. If it weren't for you, the Phoenix Academy wouldn't be so ruthless. Yang Yijuan sneered. That's right. That's right. We're about to hand you over to the Phoenix Academy. Shut up. The white-bearded old man was furious. It was rare to see such an expression on the old man's face. Ling Xiao, don't listen to them. These people cower in fear at the slightest threat. They don't deserve to be teachers of Qingshu College. Ling Xiao, Yang Yijuan, and the others were stunned when they heard the old man's words. Ling Xiao was a little surprised. He had never met the dean before. Why would he help him? Yang Yijuan was dumbfounded. She didn't expect the dean, who was known for his fairness and forbearance, to be so angry today. However, she couldn't lower her head now. Although she was a teacher of Qingshu College, she didn't sign a contract to sell her body. She could leave or stay as she wished. At most, she would just have to pay a penalty for breaching the contract. Dean, are you trying to drive us out of Qingshu Academy by saying this? Yang Yijuan asked coldly. I'm not trying to drive you away. You've gone too far. With your behavior, you don't deserve to stay and be teachers of Qingshu College. The white-bearded old man said coldly. Good. Very good. Don't regret it. Let's go. Yang Yijuan stood up, and so did the other teachers. Wait a minute. The one who spoke wasn't the white-bearded old man, but Ling Xiao. What's the hurry? If you're leaving, help me pass a message to Sun Shang. I didn't want to kill him, but he didn't know what was good for him, and insisted on provoking Qingshu College. This time, if I don't destroy the Divine Phoenix Medical College completely, my name isn't Ling Xiao. Ha 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 ha, has this kid lost his mind? Yang Yijuan laughed out loud. Ling Xiao did not pay any attention to him, but looked towards the white-bearded elder and said, Principal, I won't say any more nonsense. I heard that recently the Clear Void Academy has been badly suppressed by the Divine Phoenix Academy, and the most important thing is that the Divine Phoenix Academy has a high-level alchemist, Sunshang, right? That's right. Since you know about this, do you have any ideas? Feng Qingyan asked anxiously. Of course there is a way. That is to fight pills with pills, alchemists against alchemists. Ling Xiao replied, "Isn't that nonsense? If we could find a high-level alchemist, would we still need to be so worried?" Thunderbolt said unhappily, "Let him finish." Feng Qingyan vaguely felt that Ling Xiao wouldn't say such nonsense, so there must be something else going on. "There's no need to find a high-level alchemist because he's right in front of you." Ling Xiao smiled. "Who?" Feng Qingyan asked. "Me." Ling Xiao pointed at himself. "Brat, if you continue to talk nonsense and make fun of me, I'll slap you to death." Thunderbolt was really angry. He felt that Ling Xiao was playing with them. "Nonsense." Ling Xiao smiled and waved his hand. A storage ring appeared in his hand. "Vice Dean Qingyan, take a look at the things inside." Feng Qingyan hurriedly took the storage ring and checked it with his soul force. He couldn't help but be overjoyed. "This is the Heaven Reversal Pill." "No, it's even better than the Heaven Reversal Pill." "What is this?" "This is a perfect grade Heaven Reversal Pill refined by me. Its effect is twice as good as the Heaven Reversal Pill. The cost is the same as the Heaven Reversal Pill, and it can restore one's physical strength. There are a total of 100,000 pills, and all of them are stored in exquisite jade bottles. The packaging is exquisite, and the effect is outstanding. Do you think it can compete with Sun Shang's Trash Heaven Reversal Pill?" Ling Xiao asked with a smile. As soon as these words were spoken, the meeting hall suddenly fell into silence. It was almost as if there was not a single sound. Chapter 992. In the dead silence of the meeting room, everyone stared at the small jade bottle that Feng Qingyan had placed on the table. They couldn't believe that the small jade bottle contained a pill that was better than the Heaven Reversal Pill. "I don't believe it. How could this kid get his hands on such a good pill?" Yang Yijuan was the first to shout. He had completely fallen out with Qingshu College. It didn't matter. If Ling Xiao really got his hands on such a good pill, the Phoenix Academy would be in trouble. The Phoenix Academy was the place he wanted to go to. It would be very unfavorable for him. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. You're no longer a member of the Phoenix Academy. Just get out of here. Thunderbolt scolded. "Damn it. Let's go." Yang Yijuan didn't want to leave, but he had no choice. He had completely fallen out with Qingshu College. He could only choose to leave. Even if he didn't leave, there was no place for him to stay. He also wanted to report this to Sun Shang as soon as possible so that the Phoenix Academy could make preparations. However, he was destined to fail. Sun Shang was such a proud person. How could he believe his words? Moreover, he didn't even see the pill in the jade bottle. After watching Yang Yijuan leave, Thunderbolt looked at Ling Xiao and said, "Kid, although that guy is a good-for-nothing, I still have doubts about your pill. Can you try it?" Ling Xiao nodded and said, "Vice Dean, please try it. I have both the Heaven Reversal Pill and the Heaven Reversal Pill. You'll know after you try it." The effect of the pill was immediate. It wouldn't take long to figure out which pill was better. Thunderbolt swallowed the two pills and tried to feel the effects of the two pills. At this time, everyone was staring at him, looking a little nervous, because this Heaven Reversal Panacea might become the panacea that changed the fate of the Qingshu Academy. "Kid, how many pills do you have?" A moment later, Thunderbolt asked excitedly, "I can't believe that there is such a pill in this world. It's really an eye-opener for this old man." "Vice Dean, I've already said that we've refined a total of 100,000 pills, which should be enough to occupy the market. If the sales are good, we can refine more in the future. At the very least, it shouldn't be a problem for us to chase the Phoenix Academy out of the elixir market." Ling Xiao said indifferently, 100,000. Hiss gasps could be heard in the hall. There were actually 100,000 of such good medicinal pills. This was truly timely help. Cough, cough. Aren't you going to say anything? Are you just going to stare? Ling Xiao coughed twice, waking everyone up from their shock. Ha ha ha. I'm sorry. I've been frightened by your magnificent feat." Huoboli laughed heartily. The way he looked at Ling Xiao now had a completely different meaning. Previously, he was a little disdainful of Zhang Xian, but since he was a disciple of his academy, he had no choice but to protect him. But now he was simply worshipping him. Being able to take out so many yellow-grade pills so easily was definitely not something an ordinary alchemist could do. There must be a master behind this kid. Alas, Ling Xiao, I believe that you know the current situation of the school very well. The white-bearded old man sighed and said, "For a long time the income from elixirs has been the main source of income for Qingshu College. But ever since Sunshang came, our income has been shrinking. Especially after the heaven reversal pill incident, we've completely lost money. I'm really surprised and touched that you're willing to step forward and take out so many heaven reversal pills. These are not just pills. They're a way to save Qingshu College. How about this? After we accept these pills, you can have all the spiritual stones from the sale. As long as we don't lose money and we can take back the market. It doesn't matter if we don't make any money. What do you think?" The dean of Qingshu College was really far-sighted. He helped to sell the heaven reversal pills and did not even ask for a single spiritual stone. This was not because he was generous, but because he thought far ahead. Even if he lost money, as long as he could take back the market, wouldn't it be easy to make money in the future? Moreover, he knew that he could not afford to offend Ling Xiao now. Even the slightest bit of greed could not be shown. Otherwise, if Ling Xiao took these pills to the Phoenix Academy, Qingshu College would really be ruined. No, Ling Xiao shook his head and was very determined. Hearing this, the white-bearded old man frowned slightly. With Thunderbolt scolded, "Little bastard, I admit that your pills can save our Clear Void Academy, but it's not the only way. Don't take an inch and want a mile. We don't want a single spirit stone. Yet you're still not satisfied? Don't tell me you want us to compensate you with more spirit stones?" "Yeah, Ling Xiao, the school has been very protective of you. Yang Yijuan just said that she wanted to hand you and your friends over to the Phoenix Academy." The dean immediately expelled them. One of the teachers reminded him, "That's enough. Why are you making things difficult for a child? He didn't make these pills. Do you want him to give his spiritual stones to that expert?" Feng Qingyan suddenly waved his hand and said, "Ling Xiao, just say it. Even if that expert wants more spiritual stones, we will accept it." Ling Xiao smiled bitterly and said, "Is there a misunderstanding? I didn't say that I want more. What I mean is that it will cost a lot to sell and advertise so many spirit reversal pills. Besides, as a student of Qingshu College, it is my duty to save the school. How about this? Let's split it 40-60. You take 60, and I'll take 40. On one hand, the materials cost money. On the other hand, the expert should also ask for a certain amount of remuneration. Otherwise, I don't want the money." After listening to Ling Xiao's words, the troubled and indignant higher-ups of the school were dumbfounded. They thought that Ling Xiao was giving them too little profit. Who knew that he didn't mean it that way? They were measuring the heart of a gentleman with the yardstick of a villain. "Kid, you are a good friend. I was rude. I'm sorry." With Thunderbolt apologized directly. Although this person was impatient, he was very straightforward. It was not bad. The rest of the teachers also apologized to Ling Xiao. They were all cursing Ling Xiao in their hearts. In fact, it was just as Feng Qingyan had said. Even if Ling Xiao went overboard, not only did he want 100% of the profits, but he also wanted to take advantage of the situation to rob them. However, he said that it would be 40-60 and the school would still get the bigger share. This made them ecstatic, but also a little embarrassed. Feng Qingyan frowned and said, "Ling Xiao, if you do this, I'm afraid you won't be able to explain it to that expert. What if you offend him?" "Vice Dean Qingyan, don't worry. If I say it's okay, then it's okay." Ling Xiao waved his hand and said, "Well, since you said so, the school will owe you a favor. If you need anything in the future, the school will do its best to help you." Feng Qingyan nodded and said, Chapter 993. That's it then. The items have been delivered. You can make the arrangements. I still need to cultivate, so I won't stay any longer. After Ling Xiao finished speaking, he cupped his hands and said, Okay, then you go first. When these elixirs are sold out, we will definitely send 40% of the spiritual stones to you. Feng Qingyan said. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Principal Qingyan. Everyone farewell. In fact, Ling Xiao didn't plan to ask for a single spiritual stone this time. However, he was a little short of money recently, so he asked for 40%. This wasn't considered greedy. Moreover, if he didn't ask for any spiritual stones, the white-bearded old man and Feng Qingyan would suspect that he had other motives. That wouldn't be good. Mutual suspicion was the most troublesome thing. After leaving the meeting room, Ling Xiao didn't go to cultivate. Instead, he went to the Heavenly Dragon Auction House. This time, in addition to the 100,000 spiritual pills of recovery, he also refined 100 middle-grade divine pills of heaven spirit. 50 of them were promised to the Heavenly Dragon Auction House. He had to keep his word. Moreover, he might have to rely on Princess Yunya for many things in the future. This wasn't a bad thing for him. In the VIP room of the Heavenly Dragon Auction House, on the smooth marble table, there was an exquisite small gourd. Inside were 50 bright-colored divine pills of heaven spirit. He gently pulled out the stopper, and a strange fragrance suddenly filled the entire VIP room, making people feel refreshed. Looking at the round and smooth elixirs in her hand, Yunya's white and tender hands trembled. She couldn't control the excited expression on her face. Ling Xiao couldn't help but secretly shake his head. These 50 middle-grade divine pills of heaven spirit were only at the perfect level, but it already made Yunya so excited. If he took out the other 50 soul-level, middle-grade, divine pills of heaven spirit, wouldn't Yunya go crazy? The so-called soul level was an existence that surpassed the perfect level. It didn't exist in the history of elixirs. It was created by Ling Xiao himself. The effect of a soul-level elixir was 2 to 3 times better than a perfect-level elixir. A soul-level, middle-grade, divine pill of heaven spirit was definitely comparable to a perfect-level, high-grade, divine pill of heaven spirit. But in terms of absorption, it was much better. After all, a high-grade, heavenly spirit divine pill was already one of the best among the yellow-grade pills, second only to transcendent-grade pills. For a heaven realm martial artist, it would not be easy to absorb, so it was more suitable for a grotto heaven realm martial artist. Young Hero Ling's alchemy skills have really amazed Yunya. I'm afraid no one can refine these 50 medium-grade spirit reversal pills except for high-grade, yellow-grade alchemists. Even a high-grade, yellow-grade alchemist like Sun Shang would have a hard time refining them. Yunya praised. Ling Xiao gently smiled and said, Princess Yunya is overpraising me. It's just a mere high Huang grade elixir. Take it as my thanks to your Heavenly Dragon Auction House. You have helped me a lot these days. If I don't thank you, I will feel very apologetic. Yunya hurriedly shook her head and said, Young Hero Ling, you're too polite. We're friends, aren't we? Yunya is very happy to help her friends. At this time, Yunya was trying to win over Ling Xiao with both interests and feelings. However, Ling Xiao didn't dislike it. In this world, people were making use of each other. Moreover, Yunya wouldn't let him suffer losses. Why should he make trouble for himself? Since Princess Yunya is so enthusiastic, I won't stand on ceremony. Here's a list. I'll have to trouble your highness to help me find the medicinal herbs and other materials on it. In terms of spirit stones, I won't treat you badly. Ling Xiao smiled and handed a list to Yunya. Yunya looked at the list, and a look of surprise flashed in her eyes. Because in addition to some herbs on the list, there were also materials for making weapons and armors. Although it was normal for warriors to make weapons and armors for themselves, they definitely wouldn't use so many. Yunya was a little confused, but she didn't dare to ask. After all, this was Ling Xiao's secret. If she annoyed him, she was afraid that they wouldn't be able to cooperate in the future. Anyway, with the ability of their heavenly dragon auction house, it wasn't difficult to get these things. Young hero Ling, are you in urgent need of these things? Yunya asked. Naturally, the sooner the better. Ling Xiao made these things for Qin Hua's group. Recently, the divine Phoenix continent was not stable. He might need the help of his subordinates at any time. Soldiers were trained for 1,000 days to be used in a moment. If he couldn't even bear to raise them, then they wouldn't be useful. He also wouldn't do the kind of rotten thing that only wanted the horse to run but didn't give it grass to eat. When Yunya heard this, she immediately sent someone over and gave the list to that person. She carefully instructed him to instruct his subordinates to prepare these things immediately. Ling Xiao was very grateful for this, but his thoughts didn't stop there. Since he was already at odds with the Phoenix Academy, Ling Xiao, wouldn't give up until he completely destroyed the Phoenix Academy. Princess Yunya, I have a presumptuous request. I wonder if you can agree? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. Seeing Ling Xiao's smile, Yunya knew that it was definitely nothing good. However, she wasn't in a hurry to refuse, nor did she want to refuse. The expert behind Ling Xiao had superb alchemy skills. As long as they had a good relationship with that old man, it wouldn't be difficult to control the alchemy business between the heavenly dragon continent and the divine Phoenix continent. In that way, the heavenly dragon auction house's ultimate goal would be closer and closer. Young hero Ling, you don't have to be so polite. Just say it, Yunya said with a nod. Ling Xiao said, as far as I know, your auction house accounts for more than 90% of the medicinal herb transactions in the heavenly dragon continent. In the divine Phoenix continent, your share of the medicinal herb market is also around 90%. However, in the alchemy market, your share is only 20%. Is that right? That's right. Yunya's eyes couldn't help but light up. This young man was young, but his mind was really meticulous. He even found this kind of data. The reason why your share of the alchemy market is so small is because of the Phoenix Academy suppression, right? You sell large amounts of medicinal herbs to the Phoenix Academy at a cheap price, but they make alchemy pills and sell them. As a result, they account for nearly 70% of the alchemy market in the divine Phoenix continent. In the past, when you joined forces with Qingshu College, you could still slightly resist the Phoenix Academy. However, now the Qingshu College has basically lost the alchemy market. They only have less than 10% of the alchemy market and are still struggling. After the Phoenix Academy destroys the Qingshu College, who do you think they will turn to next? Ling Xiao said with a slight smile. I naturally believe young hero Ling's words. However, as of now, the Phoenix Academy has the strong support of the Emperor. They also have the heavenly revered genius Sunshang and a large number of yellow-grade alchemists. Even our heavenly dragon auction house can't do anything to them. Yunya shook her head and said, Aren't you overestimating our insignificant business group? Chapter 994. What if we cut off the supply of raw materials? Ling Xiao did not beat around the bush and directly stated his intentions. Even the cleverest housewife can't cook without rice. Even if the Phoenix Academy has so many alchemists, they will be in trouble if they don't have the supply of raw materials. Young hero Ling, are you saying that we should cut off the supply of raw materials to the Phoenix Academy? Yunya was smarter than most people. How could she not understand what Ling Xiao was thinking? However, she shook her head helplessly and said, Young hero Ling, it's not that I don't want to help you. It's just that our deal with the Phoenix Academy is mutually beneficial. Although they earn a lot and we only earn a little, we still earn something. Once we cut off the supply, the large amount of medicinal materials that we have stockpiled won't be able to be converted into elixirs. In the end, the Phoenix Academy won't be the only one who will be cheated. That's right, and it's obviously against the rules. The Heavenly Dragon Auction House will not take the risk of getting involved in the battle between the two academies. Suddenly, someone walked in and said angrily, Kid, Don't try to sow discord there. We won't be fooled. Who is this? Ling Xiao looked at the person who just entered the VIP room and asked. He's Medicine Master Lu, the Heavenly Dragon Auction House's intermediate yellow level medicine master. Yunyo explained. Although he's a little straightforward, it's also the truth. We really can't break such rules. Ling Xiao smiled and did not continue to persuade him. Instead, he directly began to tempt him, saying, Agree to my request, and I can turn all the medicinal herbs you've accumulated into this kind of spirit reversal pill and a large number of perfect-grade medicinal pills. As he spoke, he took out a sky reversal pill and gave it to Yunya. Young Heroling, did you refine this? Yunya was surprised. You can think of it as me or the expert behind me. It doesn't matter. After all, I have the ability to do so. It's good that you know. Ling Xiao smiled slightly. Medicine Master Lu was stunned when he saw the sky reversal pill. He was a medicine master and naturally knew how big of an impact this thing would bring to the market. But how do we split the profits? Medicine Master Lu asked. It's simple, we'll split it 50-50. Ling Xiao said indifferently. In addition, I can also refine a high-grade Heavenly Spirit Divine pill for you all for free. After hearing those words, Pharmacist Lu and Yunya both trembled and their heartbeats accelerated. Hee, young hero Ling. This really isn't a matter of money. This involves integrity. Yunya tried her best to suppress her excitement and declined. 2 high-grade Heavenly Spirit Dan. Cool. This time, even Yunya, who had always been able to control her emotions, couldn't help but swallow her saliva. Her heart was obviously beating faster. Even Medicine Master Lu couldn't help but agree. What kind of concept was 2 high-grade Heavenly Spirit Divine pills? One had to know that in the Divine Phoenix continent and the Sky Dragon continent, as of now, there was basically no one who could refine it, not even Sunshang. Perhaps there were people on the 5 great immortal islands who could refine it, but a pill like this would cost at least tens of millions of low-grade spirit stones. And the key problem was that even if you had those spirit stones, you might not be able to buy it. From his firm opposition at the beginning to his continuous winking at Yunya to get her to agree, Medicine Master Lu's reaction actually proved the huge value of the high-grade Heavenly Spirit Divine pill. This, young hero Ling, why do you have to make things difficult for us? Yunya couldn't help but smile bitterly. 3 pills. Ling Xiao didn't talk nonsense with her and directly stretched out 3 fingers. Yunya, are you crazy? Hurry up and agree. This is such a good opportunity. Do you want to offend young hero Ling? Medicine Master Lu finally couldn't help but roar. He had never seen 3 high-grade Heavenly Spirit Divine pills in his life. Even 1 pill was enough to make Grotto Heaven Realm or even Yin Realm experts kill each other, let alone 3. Sigh, young hero Ling's courage is really too much for Yunya to resist. Fine, I'll agree. From now on, all the medicinal materials will be divided into 2 parts. 1 part will be for our own use, and the other part will be shipped to Qingshu College. We'll stop cooperating with Phoenix Academy. Young hero Ling, are you satisfied? Yunya was also completely dumbfounded by the pills. Even though she had seen many magical things, she still had to surrender in the face of such pills. Very satisfied. Then the materials for the 3 upper-grade Heavenly Gods elixirs will be provided by you. Just leave the refining to me. I will present the elixirs in 3 days at most. I just hope that Princess Yun, you won't let me down. Ling Xiao smiled and said, although his smile was very bright, Yunya felt a trace of fear from it. Offending such a person was really the Phoenix Academy's biggest mistake. Young hero Ling, don't worry. I know the pros and cons. I won't let you down. Yunya was still calmer than Medicine Master Lu. Although she was excited, she didn't lose her mind. In fact, the reason why she didn't directly agree to Ling Xiao was that she wanted to see Ling Xiao's sincerity in cooperating with him. 3 high-grade, Heavenly Spirit, Divine pills was his sincerity. It was also an explanation to the upper management of the auction house. If she didn't have these 3 high-grade Heavenly Spirit Divine pills, her actions would definitely make the upper management unhappy. The Heavenly Dragon auction house, which was already full of internal strife, wouldn't let her off easily. About 4 hours later, Ling Xiao had all the materials he needed. He didn't stay in the auction house for long and left under the admiring gazes of Yunya and Medicine Master Lu. After he left, Yunya realized that her clothes were all wet because of her nervousness. They stuck to her body and were very uncomfortable. This little brother is really amazing. I don't know what's his relationship with that expert. Why does the expert dote on him so much? She muttered to herself. Yes, 3 high-grade Heavenly Spirit Divine pills. This can only be refined by a top yellow-level alchemist. No wonder he was so calm and didn't take Sunshang seriously. The so-called top alchemist was also the best alchemist, second only to the supreme, super alchemist. Weren't you very opposed to me cooperating with him before? Why are you so attentive today? Yunya asked Medicine Master Lu after she asked the maid to prepare the bath water. Before she left, she couldn't help but look at Medicine Master Lu with ridicule. Don't laugh at me. I'm just a mid-yellow level alchemist. How can I compare to a top yellow level alchemist? I wasn't willing before because I didn't understand. Now that I understand, if I still don't agree, then I'm stupid. Medicine Master Lu shook his head and laughed bitterly. Forget it, I should also take my leave. I used to think that mid-yellow level alchemists were already in high demand. Now it seems that I'm really nothing. I have to work harder to practice. Yunya watched as Medicine Master Lu left and also walked towards her own room. In the warm bathtub with its enchanting fragrance, she could not help but smile charmingly. This time, Divine Phoenix Academy has really kicked an iron plate. Although it might not completely collapse, Divine Phoenix Medical Academy is probably going to be crippled. Chapter 995. Yunya smiled gently and thought to herself, cooperating with Qingshu College will not only be a blow to the Phoenix Academy, but it will also bring me a lot of benefits. In the past, those old guys looked down on a little girl like me. Now, if I can double the income of the Sky Dragon and Divine Phoenix continents, they won't dare to look down on me anymore. Some old bones should really retire from the Heavenly Dragon Auction House. After leaving the Heavenly Dragon Auction House, Ling Xiao returned to Qingshu College. It seemed that he still had to refine pills for a while. No matter what, he had to get through this. Seclusion was out of the question. The moment he returned to the college, he could clearly feel that the teachers and students were looking at him differently. The news that Ling Xiao had helped Qingshu College produce a large number of spirit reversal pills had already spread within the college. It had even spread to the Imperial City. In fact, this was also Qingshu College's way of advertising. The more people knew about the existence of the spirit reversal pills, the easier it would be to sell them. More people would come to support them. Naturally, the people of Phoenix Academy also knew about this. However, the arrogant and conceited miraculous hand, Heavenly Venerable Sunshang, disdainfully said, "What good stuff can the Qingshu Academy refine? It's just a bluff." It was no wonder that he looked down on Qingshu College. It had been more than a month. If Qingshu College really had a way, they would have used it long ago. They wouldn't have waited until all the market shares had been taken away. Moreover, they had been monitoring Qingshu College's every move and hadn't found any experts entering or leaving the college. Therefore, he treated the so-called spirit reversal pills as a joke. Of course, even if he believed it was true, there was nothing he could do. This was because he couldn't refine a perfect spirit reversal pill. If he wanted to improve the quality, he would have to increase the cost. That would not be worth it. Therefore, Qingshu College dared to advertise like this because they knew that there was nothing they could do even if they were angry. 3 days later, Ling Xiao handed over a portion of the heaven-returning spirit pills to the Heavenly Dragon Auction House. Then, As the middleman, he made the Heavenly Dragon Auction House and Qingshu College form an alliance. They agreed to deal with the Phoenix Academy together, and in the future, they would own half of the elixir market. Things were being arranged in full swing. However, most people were still skeptical about Qingshu College's publicity. As the spring festival approached, the imperial city became lively. The warriors who were out on missions had all returned. The demand for the Heaven Reversal Pill had reached a peak. The Phoenix Academy's business was booming, but it was starting to run out of stock. In fact, because they monopolized the market, they made the most suicidal decision, which was to raise the price. The price of the Heaven Reversal Pill doubled. Because of this, many martial artists cursed and were very dissatisfied. But because the Heaven Reversal Pill's market was monopolized, the martial artists could only swallow their anger and continue to buy. But at this moment, something even more suicidal occurred. Fake and inferior Heaven Reversal Pills appeared in the Phoenix Academy's market. After the customer complained, not only did the Phoenix Academy not deal with the seller who made the mistake, but they also announced to the public that the customer was being unreasonable and that Qingshu College had sent him to deal with them. Many people saw this storm and their hearts were as clear as a mirror. However, because there was no suitable replacement, they chose to remain silent. They did not dare to offend the Phoenix Academy. Therefore, the Phoenix Academy went further and further down the road of self-destruction. Problems such as poor service, shoddy packaging, price hikes, and so on were common. There were a lot of complaints from the customers, and there was also a lot of noise, but it was useless. Because of the monopoly, all of the Divine Phoenix Academy's merchants had arrogant faces. Can't afford it? If you can't afford it, then scram. We don't lack customers anyway. Dao Wuming was related to Sun Shang in the Sky Dragon continent, so this time he was qualified to sell the Heaven Reversal Pill. Every day, other than cultivating, he would sit in the shop and watch those idiotic martial artists fight to give him money. Then he would drink some wine and scold them for being stupid and having too much money. Crackle, crackle, crackle. Suddenly, the loud sound of firecrackers could be heard in the distance. Dao Wuming looked up and was puzzled. Who was setting off firecrackers for no reason? At this moment, someone shouted, "Qingshu College and the Sky Dragon Auction House are selling the Heaven Reversal Pill. It's cheap and good stuff. Don't suffer here." When he heard this, Dao Wuming only curled his lips in disdain and said, "The best alchemists in the entire Divine Phoenix continent are at the Phoenix Academy. What *T Heaven Reversal Pill is this? Do they really think they're a treasure just because they gave it a similar name? Qingshu College is really at their wits' end. They're using such boring methods to fool the masses." The shouting continued for a long time. However, most people had no intention of moving their seats. It was not easy to get into the line. They were afraid that if they left, they would not be able to buy the Heaven Reversal Pill. Some people even started cursing. ***starred bastard. Who's so immoral to say such nonsense? Are they trying to trick me into giving up my seat? No way. That's right. The Heaven Reversal Pill has been advertised for so many days, but I haven't seen anyone buy it. It must be a scam. Whoever believes it is an idiot." Most people did not believe the shouting. Recently, more and more people bought the Heaven Reversal Pill from the Phoenix Academy. Some people like to use such despicable and boring methods to trick honest people. They did not believe it. However, the shouting was not completely useless. After all, there were many people at the back of the line who could not even get in. They ran to the Sky Dragon Auction House with an attitude of giving it a try. There was also a small market there. Of course, it was not as big as the one here, but it was not too far away. They could still make it back in time after taking a look. Dao Wuming looked at the rushing crowd and could not help but sneer. This is probably Qingshu College's last trick. Idiots, no matter what you do, it's useless. The days of two major academies existing side by side are long over. In the future, there will only be one legitimate academy in the Divine Phoenix Empire, and that is the Phoenix Academy. He felt especially satisfied when he thought of Ling Zhao's miserable face in Qingshu College. Hee, maybe I can get a letter of recommendation and poach Haim, Myung-ko. When that time comes, won't that girl be a fish on my chopping block? When he thought of Haim, Myung-ko's lofty appearance, well-proportioned figure, and peerless beauty, his heart was instantly filled with excitement. He felt a surge of heat in his lower abdomen, making it difficult for him to calm down for a long time. The small disturbance seemed to have passed just like that, other than a small number of people who had left because of the shouting and firecrackers. The rest of the practitioners were still crowded in the market. Qingshu College's little trick seemed to have no effect. However, before the storm, there was bound to be some peace. Chapter 996. Not long after, a loud voice sounded again. This time the people who shouted were actually the people who went to the Heavenly Dragon Auction House before. In their hands, they were holding loudspeakers that no one knew where they got it from. They shouted loudly, "Brothers, why are you still suffering here? Over at the Heavenly Dragon Auction House, the Heaven Reversal Pill has already been put up for sale. The price is the same as the previous Heaven Reversal Pill, but the effect is more than twice as good." As they spoke, they waved the small jade bottles in their hands, looking very proud. "Who are you lying to? I'm not crazy to lie to you. If it weren't for Boss Yunya, I wouldn't care about you idiots. Buy it if you want." Upon hearing Yunya's name, many of the male warriors were shocked. This name was really too lethal. "If you don't believe me, you can come over. You'll know when you try it. I have some samples here. It's free." Probably because they were fascinated by Yunya's words, a few warriors were working hard to promote the Heaven Reversal Pill. "I'll try it. I just rushed back from outside the city, and my heavenly essence energy is exhausted. I'd like to see the effect of your Heaven Reversal Pill." A sturdy celestial realm warrior stood up. He had indeed just returned from outside and urgently needed the Heaven Reversal Pill. However, because the price was too high and he was a little short of money, he couldn't afford it. Now that he heard about the Heaven Reversal Pill, he naturally wanted to try it. He didn't know if it would be effective, but it wouldn't kill him, right? It's him. He just killed a 3 talents realm beast outside the city. Yes, it's him. I saw it just now, too. Many people began to talk at once. Obviously, they could all testify for this warrior. "Okay, here you go." A Heaven Reversal Pill was thrown to the warrior. The warrior took the Heaven Reversal Pill and swallowed it in one gulp. A moment later, wisps of white gas appeared around his body. "Oh my God, this is the Heaven Reversal Pill? Where did you say it was on sale?" "In the market in front of the Heavenly Dragon Auction House, there's a counter for Qingshu College and a counter for the Heavenly Dragon Auction House. You can buy whatever you want. There aren't many people now. Hurry up and go." "Thank you." Seeing the cultivator leave in a hurry, everyone was shocked. Just now, this guy was being carried here, let alone his heavenly elemental energy. Even his physical strength was at rock bottom. But with just 1 pill in his stomach, he actually ran so fast. Was this medicine really that miraculous? If there's anyone else who doesn't believe me, you can come and try it. I have hundreds of test products here. I don't want you bunch of grandsons to think that I'm a shill. The martial artist standing on the high ground with a megaphone laughed heartily and said, "Choose for yourselves. Do you want to be tricked by these bastards from the Phoenix Academy and buy inferior things at a high price, or do you want to go over there and buy better things at a low price?" At this moment, there was a commotion in the market. "Everyone, don't listen to him. He's lying." At this moment, a martial artist stepped forward. Just as many people were waiting to hear what he had to say, he suddenly ran away in the direction of the Heavenly Dragon Auction House. "F***CK, this kid is cheating. Let's hurry up and go. If we don't go, we'll have to line up again." In just an instant, a swarm of people rushed out of the Phoenix Academy's market and rushed towards the Heavenly Dragon Auction House. Of course, there were also people who supported the Phoenix Academy unwaveringly. Therefore, the number of people in both markets was basically the same. But this scene still made Dao Wuming break out in cold sweat. If such a situation occurred, it would be really troublesome. Once the news from the other side was confirmed, he believed that the number of people in the market would decrease. His worries soon became a reality. "Brother, that's right. I've tried it. This pill is really awesome and it's cheap. Sister, don't wait there. There's no need to. Junior brother, it's clear now. This heaven reversal pill is indeed much better than the heaven reversal pill." One by one, the martial artists returned. However, they were not there to buy things but to call for people. It turned out that some of the martial artists in the market had come together when they were lining up. They were worried that once all of them went over, they would be tricked and lose both ends. Therefore, they let one of them go over to check out the situation while they continued to line up. It would not be too late to go over after the other side figured out the situation. Now, the situation was even more serious. The market of the Divine Phoenix Academy was originally bustling with activity and was packed with people. But at this moment, there were only a few figures left. These people were mainly disciples of the Phoenix Academy. Qingshu College is not retaliating. Once they do, they're going to kill us. This thought flashed across many people's minds. Those merchants who had betrayed Clear Void Academy and sought refuge with Divine Phoenix Academy looked at the crisis reversal pills squeezed into the warehouse, and each and every one of their faces turned extremely ugly. Dao Wuming was nowhere to be seen. He had probably gone to report the situation to Sun Shang. In the meeting hall of the Phoenix Academy, except for the mysterious preceptor dean, the rest of the higher-ups were basically all present. Even Feng Ming Wushan of the Divine Phoenix Auction House was present. The atmosphere in the meeting hall was a little tense. There was no usual laughter, only constant sighs and worry. Dao Wuming knelt down with a bottle of heaven reversal pills in his hands. The two vice deans, Feng Ming Wanchong and Sikong Zun, were also present. Their arms had already recovered. Yin-Yang realm martial artists could reverse yin and yang. A mere arm was nothing, but the loss of vitality, time, and face was the most unbearable. Therefore, the two of them hated Ling Xiao to the core. The flame deity and Sun Shang, the heavenly venerable of miraculous hands, were also present. Sun Shang was the dean of the Divine Phoenix Medical School and the main person in charge of this plan. Now that something had happened, he naturally had to step in. However, at this moment, there was no anxious expression on his face. He was still reading a book in his hand, as if this meeting had nothing to do with him. Seeing that Sun Shang did not speak, Sikong Zun decided to speak first. "Dao Wuming, have you investigated who helped Qingshu College refine this heaven reversal pill?" "I have already investigated. There is something fishy about this matter. There are no clues at all. Qingshu College is spreading the rumor that it was Ling Xiao who refined the heaven reversal pill. However, how could that kid do it?" Dao Wuming shook his head. "Could it be the Heavenly Dragon Auction House's doing?" The flame deity suddenly said, "Besides our Phoenix Academy, the Heavenly Dragon Auction House has many mid-yellow grade alchemists. This heaven reversal pill is the same as our heaven reversal pill, a low yellow grade pill. They can definitely refine it." "Perhaps. However, I am more worried that Ling Xiao might have an expert behind him." Sikong Zun frowned. As he spoke, he deliberately looked at Sun Shang, hoping that Sun Shang could analyze the situation. Sun Shang still had to give him face. Chapter 997. Closing the book, Sun Shang said disdainfully, "Aren't you thinking too much? The alchemy master behind Ling Xiao? Do you think that alchemy masters are so bored that they would waste their time refining so many low-grade yellow pills? Don't worry, as far as I'm concerned. Mo Yan's judgment is correct. The Heavenly Dragon Auction House's alchemist must have helped him. This heaven-reversing spirit pill may sound good, but it's just that a few more herbs have been added to increase its efficacy, but the cost has increased. They are simply making a loss." While speaking, Sun Shang's face showed an extremely disdainful expression. As long as our attitude can be better, we can return to our previous state and even lower the price of the heaven reversal pill. The Qingshu Academy can't do anything about it. As expected of heavenly venerable miraculous hand. His words are simply a wake-up call. There was another person in the meeting hall. It was Yang Yijuan, who had come from Qingshu College. At this time, he was using an extremely flattering tone to curry favor with Sun Shang. He just wanted to gain more capital. If he could gain Sun Shang's appreciation, he could also have a better life in the Phoenix Academy. This is nothing. If I panicked every time I encountered this kind of situation, Sun Shang, would not have been able to survive. Although Sun Shang tried to suppress his pride, the expression in his eyes betrayed him. He seemed to believe his own words even more because he was flattered by others. You mean to lower the price? You still have to be nice to those idiots? Phoenix Cry, Wanchong asked. Deputy Dean, now is not the time to sulk. Although those martial artists are stupid, we still have to put on an act. Now that the heaven reversal pill has appeared, if we continue to raise the price with that kind of attitude, we will definitely not be able to compete with Qingshu College. Sun Shang reminded him, we don't need too much time. They are making a loss and won't be able to last long. Fine, I'll listen to you. Although Phoenix Cry Wanchong was very unhappy, the situation was critical. As the deputy dean, he could still judge whether it was good or bad. Haha, Vice Principal, why do you need to care about these temporary gains and losses? When the new medicinal herbs are back, I will improve the heaven reversal pill. Isn't it just a little better? It can recover one's physical strength. For me, this is a piece of cake. Sun Shang felt that Phoenix Cry Wanchong's mood wasn't too good, so he added another sentence. That's good. I've already sent someone to the Heavenly Dragon Auction House to purchase the herbs. The Heavenly Dragon Auction House definitely won't dare to offend the Phoenix Academy. As long as we take drastic measures and buy all the herbs, Qingshu College won't be able to do anything. Sikong Zun sneered. I think the reason why the Heavenly Dragon Auction House cooperated with Qingshu College is because Qingshu College also gave them some sky reversal pills to sell. We can give them more. It's not that I want to say this, but our Phoenix Academy really doesn't fear anyone in the divine Phoenix continent. Haha! Complacent laughter finally rang out in the meeting hall, and the oppressive atmosphere from before was no longer present. Oh no! Just when the atmosphere was a little better, a person suddenly rushed in from outside the door. He knelt on the ground and reported, Vice Principals, something bad has happened. Something big has happened. If you have something to say, just say it. Don't be so flustered. Phoenix Cry, Wanchong said angrily. Vice Principal, the person we sent to the Heavenly Dragon Auction House to purchase the herbs just came back, but he didn't get anything. Yunya said that from now on, all medicinal herb transactions with the Phoenix Academy will be cut off. She wants us to find a way ourselves. As soon as he said this, the meeting hall suddenly became silent. A moment later, a loud shout rang out. B** starred. A B** TCH from the Heavenly Dragon Continent actually dares to not give face to our Phoenix Academy. Phoenix Cry Wanchong had been humiliated all this time, and he was really unhappy. This news almost made him explode. Vice Principal Wanchong, it's better to calm down. The Heavenly Dragon Auction House behind Yunya is not to be trifled with. Don't be rash. Sikong Zun reminded. Don't forget that the Heavenly Dragon Auction House has branches on the 5 great immortal islands. An elder of the Everlasting Joy Immortal Island has a very good relationship with Yunya. It doesn't matter if you touch Yunya, but if you offend this elder, our divine Phoenix Empire will be in danger of being destroyed. Before the True Demon's Empire fully developed, the divine Phoenix Empire naturally couldn't be destroyed. Therefore, Sikong Zun had to calm Phoenix Cry Wanchong down now. Phoenix Cry Wanchong took a deep breath and finally sat back down slowly. This matter is fishy. The Heavenly Dragon Auction House and our Phoenix Academy have always minded their own business. our cooperation can be considered pleasant. Why would they suddenly choose sides at this juncture? Sun Shang also felt a headache about this matter. Even the cleverest housewife could not cook without rice. So what if he was powerful? Without the herbs, he couldn't do anything. Yes, this timing is too coincidental. Someone must be behind this. Could it be that the crown prince, Feng Yinshan, has stepped in? Sikong Zun muttered. The crown prince of the Hidden Mountain has been staying in the Fire Phoenix East Palace these days and hasn't taken a step out. Moreover, his subordinates are also under our surveillance. It's unlikely. Phoenix Cry, Wan Chong shook his head. Then could it be that Feng Qingyan has an affair with Yunya? Otherwise, why would Yunya help Qingshu College? What benefits would it bring her? Sikong Zun frowned. I'm afraid there's a problem with benefits. The flame deity thought for a moment and said, I've seen our purchase account book. It's obvious that we've suppressed the purchase price of the raw materials too much. This must have caused that woman's dissatisfaction. It's just that she's very tolerant and has never mentioned this matter. We think she's weak, but we don't know that she's been waiting for this opportunity. Your analysis is very reasonable, but what benefits can Qingshu College, which is on the verge of bankruptcy, give her? Sun Shang asked. I don't know about this, but I'm sure that this matter has something to do with Qingshu College. The flame deity gritted his teeth and said, It's useless to talk about this. The key now is where we're going to buy the medicinal materials. Without the medicinal materials, how can we refine the crisis reversal pill? At that time, we'll be the first to collapse. Sun Shang reminded him. Phoenix Cry, Wan Chong frowned and said, This is indeed a big problem, but it's not impossible to solve. Since we can't buy the medicinal materials from the Heavenly Dragon Auction House, we can spend more money and buy them from outside. Anyway, we have money, so we're not afraid of this. No matter how capable Qingshu College is, can they interfere with the outside world? Although he said this, Phoenix Cry, Wan Chong began to worry. Since Ling Xiao came to the Imperial City, the Phoenix Academy's disputes seem to have never stopped. Although similar things had happened in the past, Phoenix Academy had always won. However, Ling Xiao's appearance was like a curse, making Phoenix Academy the loser every time. That seemingly insignificant brat, could he really have such terrifying power? Chapter 998. The appearance of the perfect spirit reversal pill was like a sudden haze that shrouded the entire Imperial City in a short period of time. Qingshu College and the Heavenly Dragon Auction House together occupied nearly 70% of the Imperial City's pill market. Due to the expansion of their business, Qingshu College simply built a new market near Qingshu College. After all, there were too many people, and the Heavenly Dragon Auction House's small market was no longer enough. This new market had been prepared for a long time, but it had never been used. Now it finally came in handy. When Qingshu College was at its peak, it occupied less than 20% of the pill market. Now it occupied 30% to 40% of the pill market, which was no less than the Heavenly Dragon Auction House and the Phoenix Academy. And this was only the beginning. Even though Divine Phoenix Academy had taken measures to lower the price of the Heaven Reversal Pill to an even lower level, and their service had also improved by quite a bit. However, everyone had a good memory, especially martial artists. They remembered very clearly how the Phoenix Academy treated them in the past. Even so, the Phoenix Academy's market would never recover to its previous prosperity. It could only be said that it had temporarily stabilized about 30% of the market and was not completely destroyed. The current situation was that the Heavenly Dragon Auction House's market share was about 30%, Qingshu College's market share was about 40%, and the Phoenix Academy's market share was about 30%. Compared to its peak of nearly 90% of the market share, the Phoenix Academy was the most disadvantaged. Both the Heavenly Dragon Auction House and Qingshu College had increased their market share. Of course, the Phoenix Academy's business was not only in the Imperial City. it extended to the entire Divine Phoenix continent. In the entire continent, their market share was still about 70% to 80%. Therefore, for the time being, the Phoenix Academy's pill market was still profitable. However, as the market for the spirit reversal pill continued to expand, the Phoenix Academy's pill market would only be reduced step by step. When that time came, they would really be faced with a situation where they were losing money. More importantly, now that Ling Xiao had made improvements to the spirit reversal pill, the pill refining process was divided into more than 10 steps. Originally, only yellow-ranked pill refiners could refine pills. Now, even non-ranked pill refiners could refine pills with the cooperation of more than 10 people. Each person was only responsible for one step, or even one segment. Although there were more people, the efficiency was higher. Of course, it was impossible to refine a perfect pill, but the price was correspondingly reduced by a lot, so it was still deeply loved by martial artists. This kind of heaven-returning panacea was swallowing up the market like a whirlwind sweeping away the clouds. It was believed that within a month's time, the Divine Phoenix Academy's market share, the Phoenix Academy's market, Qingshu College's market share of the market, the Phoenix Academy's market share. The Phoenix Academy, Qingshu College of the Academy's Academy, Qingshu College of the Pill, of the Phoenix of the Academy, Phoenix of the Phoenix Reversal Pill. Originally, they only wanted to use 100,000 spirit-returning pills to take back the market that should have belonged to them. That was enough. But they didn't expect that not only did they win back the market share, but they also fiercely suppressed the Phoenix Academy. If the Ice Phoenix clan hadn't interfered and used their power to force some martial artists to go to the Divine Phoenix Academy's market to purchase the Heaven Reversal pills with even worse effects, it was likely that the Divine Phoenix Academy's market share in the Imperial City would have completely disappeared. Sun Shang was trying to refine a new pill, but unfortunately he didn't have enough herbs. He was also very anxious. It could be said that Qingshu College had completely turned the tables in the current battle. Whether or not the Phoenix Academy would be completely squeezed out of the pill market depended on whether or not Qingshu College was willing to be merciful. The only student sitting in Qingshu College's conference hall was a single person. Naturally, he was Ling Xiao. To be able to obtain such an honor, it was only because he had turned the tide in this crisis. Not only did he solve the Clear Void Academy's problem, he had also dealt a heavy blow to the arrogant Divine Phoenix Academy. The white-bearded old man smiled. Feng Qinyan couldn't hide his excitement. Thunderbolt was grinning from ear to ear. The rest of the higher-ups were chatting and laughing. All of this was because Ling Xiao had given the extremely precious secret recipe of the spirit reversal pill to Qingshu College to refine. As a result, not only had the current problem been solved, but production in the future would also be no problem. After all, Ling Xiao still had to cultivate. He couldn't be busy refining pills all the time. Ha ha ha, Ling Xiao, you're really amazing. You're so young. So how can you have so many new tricks? You've divided a pill that only yellow-level alchemists can refine into more than 10 steps and made it so that ordinary alchemists can refine it successfully. Most importantly, the efficiency has greatly increased. Thunderbolt laughed and said, I was worried about what to do after the 100,000 spirit reversal pills were sold out. Now it seems that you've already thought of the follow-up. That's right, in just a short span of 3 to 4 days, not only have we reclaimed our original market share, it's even nearly 3 times more than when we were at our peak. Right now, our scale is constantly expanding, and the pill market in the Imperial City and the nearby cities is even bigger than Divine Phoenix Academy. Feng Qinyan also nodded and said, the profit in just a few days is probably comparable to the income in the past few months. Ling Xiao, this is all thanks to you. I really don't know how to thank you. The high-ranking vice dean of Qingshu College had never thought of owing anyone a favor. However, in this incident, not only him, but the entire Qingshu College owed Ling Xiao a big favor. He really didn't know how to repay him. You're flattering me, vice deans. As a disciple of Qingshu College, this is just my duty. Ling Xiao said with a slight smile. You're quite modest, little guy. Even a disciple of Qingshu College doesn't have such a duty. You've really helped us a lot this time. This old man also doesn't know how to thank you. Keep this waste token. In the future, you can use any resources of Qingshu College as you wish. Even if you bring in outsiders, it's fine. The white-bearded elder chuckled and gave an exquisite waste token to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao received the waste token and couldn't help but feel happy. He needed this item. After all, Qingshu College was one of the 2 great colleges in the Divine Phoenix Empire. It had a deep foundation. If he could select the elites from Qinhua's group to cultivate here, it would definitely be better than blindly learning by himself. He had given them many martial arts, but they were all from the heavenly dragon continent. They couldn't compare to the martial arts of Qingshu College. This waste token was simply a timely rain. This disciple thanks the vice dean. Ling Xiao put the waste token into his storage ring and nodded with a smile. Vice dean, I'm afraid this isn't enough. Previously, because we were in a difficult period, we took 60% of the profit. Now that everything is on the right track and we're earning more and more, shouldn't we give up some of our share? Feng Qingyan suggested. In his opinion, Ling Xiao's contribution was simply too great. If he didn't reward him more, he was afraid that the expert behind Ling Xiao would be dissatisfied. Chapter 999. Yes, Qingyan is right. From now on, our academy will take 40%. Ling Xiao, you can take 60%. After all, the formula for the spirit pill of heaven reversal is yours. You deserve it, the white-bearded elder said in a low voice. Since the dean has said so, I won't refuse. Ling Xiao nodded. Recently, he needed more and more spirit stones. He had no reason to object when the academy offered such a share. Moreover, if he objected, the other party would probably let their imagination run wild. He couldn't let the academy think that the formula was too worthless. Otherwise, it would inevitably cause them to slack off. The 3 higher-ups of the academy were very capable. It was no wonder that they could hold on for so many years under various unfavorable circumstances and not be completely defeated by the Phoenix Academy. Dean, the owner of the Heavenly Dragon Auction House, Yunya, is outside. While everyone was discussing the follow-up matters, someone came in to report. Invite her in, the white-bearded elder said hurriedly. During this incident, the Heavenly Dragon Auction House, where Yunya worked, had also given great support to Qingshu College. Therefore, as the dean, he naturally had a good impression of Yunya. After a while, Yunya's graceful figure came in from outside the door. Before she spoke, a pleasant voice like a silver bell rang out. Ha ha ha, everyone is here. Yunya pays her respects to all of you. When this woman entered the meeting hall, she was like a blooming rose in the hall. The fragrance was overflowing. Her voice and smile stunned many people and almost made them infatuated. Even Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. Yunya had obviously dressed up. She was wearing a long ancient dress with a high slit that tightly wrapped around her seductive body. Even though she wasn't exposed, the flirtatious aura that came from her bones was still enough to make people infatuated. What a rare beauty! This was what everyone in the hall thought. Even the female higher-ups were subdued by Yunya's charm. However, most of the higher-ups here had seen the world. After being stunned for a moment, he quickly returned to normal. The white-bearded old man smiled faintly and said, Boss Yunya, your presence in our Qingshu College brings light to our humble dwelling. Please take a seat. Servants, quickly prepare the tea. Don't neglect our great benefactor. In fact, even without this incident, the white-bearded old man would never offend Yunya, because he knew very well how powerful Yunya's background was. This woman was definitely not as simple as a princess of the sacred dynasty. It was said that when she was very young, she followed Ji Fuling and Yu Xianyue to the gate of heaven's chosen, but later returned to the sky dragon continent alone. When he asked her what had happened, she said that she had forgotten everything. Many people tried to force her to reveal the situation of the heavens' chosen gate. As a result, these people did not live past the second day. After that, everyone knew how terrible this woman was. Dean, you're too kind. What can I do to help? In the end, it's still young Hero Ling who's the best. We can be considered as the beneficiaries of this. Yunya smiled faintly and looked very charming. Princess Yunya, you don't have to call me young hero anymore. Just call me Ling Xiao. You're my elder. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, previously he did not like the title young hero Ling, but he had never objected to it. However, now that he was called that in front of so many people, he really felt quite uncomfortable. What young hero? He, Ling Xiao, was not qualified to be called a hero. A great hero would serve the country and the people. He still had a long way to go. I haven't asked Boss Yunya. Why did you come to Qingshu College this time? Feng Qingyan asked with a smile. Actually, it's nothing special. The main thing is to make a deal with you. Yunya said calmly. A deal? Yes, I'm sure you also know that although the spirit pill of heaven reversal is not a high-grade medicine, it is a very popular medicine on the Divine Phoenix continent, Sky Dragon continent, 5 Immortal Island, and the 6 major Martial Grandmaster Islands. It is also very popular on the White Tiger continent. Yunya replied, what I mean is in the future we will do our best to provide medicinal herbs to Qingshu College. As for the sales of the pills on the Sky Dragon continent, White Tiger continent, 5 Immortal Island, and the 6 major Martial Grandmaster Islands, the Sky Dragon Auction House will be responsible for it. The final profit will be split 50-50. What do you think? That's good. Feng Qingyan's eyes suddenly lit up. The range of influence of Qingshu College was at most within the Divine Phoenix continent, which belonged to the Divine Phoenix Empire and the surrounding small countries. They could not control anything further. If the Sky Dragon Auction House was willing to cooperate and sell the pills for them, it would be a match made in heaven. It would definitely be a win-win situation. But Boss Yunya, I don't understand. Previously, you cut off the supply of medicinal herbs to the Phoenix Academy. Now, you are helping us to sell the pills. This is a very good thing for Qingshu College. Why are you doing this? Feng Qingyan was a cautious person. Because the Sky Dragon Auction House had been too good to Qingshu College during this period, he could not help but be a little worried that they had other intentions. Yunya chuckled and said, I've long heard that Vice Dean Qingyan is a meticulous person. Now that I've seen it, it's true. In fact, there's no other reason. We were just entrusted by others and received enough benefits. Do you understand now? Could it be the expert behind Ling Xiao? Feng Qingyan said in surprise. Hee, you can think of it that way. Of course, you can also think of it as Ling Xiao giving us enough benefits. Yunya chuckled and said, from now on, at least on the Divine Phoenix continent, you and we will be allies in the same trench. I see. Feng Qingyan looked at Ling Xiao with even more admiration and confusion. He did not know what benefits Ling Xiao had given Yunya to make the Sky Dragon Auction House, which had always been neutral, make such a decision. Sai, you have really accepted a good student. I really don't understand. Was the Phoenix Academy really blind back then? Why didn't they accept such a good student? Yunya sighed and said with some envy, Ha, Boss Yunya is right. But if the Phoenix Academy had not been blind back then, how could we have had such a good opportunity to accept such a good student? Hoboli laughed loudly. That's true. All right. Today's matter has been explained clearly. When you are ready to sign the official transaction contract, you can go to the Sky Dragon Auction House to sign it at any time. As Yunya spoke, she stood up with a smile and said, Can I borrow Ling Xiao for a while? Of course. Ling Xiao, send Boss Yunya off. Feng Qingyan looked at Ling Xiao and said with a smile, Disciple obeys. When they were outside, Ling Xiao suddenly looked at Yunya and said, This transaction doesn't seem to be my request, right? What? Young hero is not happy? Yunya was stunned for a moment and asked, She had originally done this to curry favor with Ling Xiao. But now, she suddenly felt that Ling Xiao did not seem too happy. Naturally, she was worried. Chapter 1000. Forget it. Anyway, I will get 60% of the money the college earns from the heaven reversal panacea in the future. This is also a good thing. But Princess Yunya, I don't like people who think they are smart, especially when they use my name. Ling Xiao said indifferently, Your cooperation with the Qingshu Academy is a matter between the two of you. Don't involve me. Yunya immediately breathed a sigh of relief and said, I know I was wrong. If there is anything in the future, I will definitely inform you first. Looking at the young man beside her, who was only 16 years old, she couldn't help but have a doubt. Was such a mature, steady, and terrifying person really only 15 or 16 years old? Well, there is no need to be so formal. Goodbye. Recently, I have been so busy with the elixir that my cultivation has been delayed. After Ling Xiao finished speaking, he cupped his hands and turned to leave. Young hero, can't the master behind you show himself? Yunya finally couldn't help but say what was in her heart. There are some things that are better if you don't know the truth. The day you see him may be the day you will no longer cooperate with him. Do you still want to see him? Ling Xiao asked. Then forget it. Maybe I'm just too stubborn. Yunya shook her head. She actually had other thoughts. She wanted to bypass Ling Xiao and contact the master behind Ling Xiao. However, after hearing Ling Xiao's words, she suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. She was really smart all her life, but this time she was stupid. Doing this would offend Ling Xiao too much. It's better to be content with what you have. If you're too greedy, you'll die from overeating. I think Princess Yunya is a good friend to make, but don't let me down. After he finished speaking, Ling Xiao leaped and left. Naturally, he was not in a hurry to cultivate. Although he had been refining elixirs during this period, in fact, his cultivation did not fall behind. In the process of refining elixirs, not only did his divine essence become purer, but it was also constantly increasing. Now he had advanced to the early stage of the 6 arts. It was just that he had concealed his true cultivation level in front of outsiders. Yunya stood in place and looked in the direction where Ling Xiao had disappeared. She sighed softly and said to herself, I hope I didn't offend him. Otherwise, it will be too late for regrets. After the Heavenly Dragon Auction House and Qingshu College reached a complete cooperation, one side focused on the production of elixirs, while the other side focused on marketing and publicity. Their market share continued to expand, which also brought huge profits to both sides. For a moment, Qingshu College was filled with excitement. Those who persisted until the end and did not leave Qingshu College were lucky. Not only could they get a large number of sky-reversing panacea at a lower price, but they also had more resources than before. This made them extremely happy. On the other hand, the atmosphere at Phoenix Academy was gloomy and depressing, just like when Qingshu College was in trouble. Those who left Qingshu College to join Phoenix Academy did not receive better treatment. Instead, they were ostracized and suppressed because of their original identity as Qingshu College students. Even Shimin Bumi, who was originally ranked first in Qingshu College, and Li Qingxiu, who was ranked second, were no exception. Their spirit stones were deducted, and their resources were deprived. Their situation was extremely bad. It was a world of difference from when they were in Qingshu College. One had to know that when they were in Qingshu College, they were the elite students with the best resources and treatment. But now, they had become the lowest class of people. They tried to return to Qingshu College, but they were rejected. How could Qingshu College accept people who betrayed the school at such a critical time? Therefore, the two of them hated Qingshu College, especially Ling Xiao. The outside world was rumored to have obtained the spirit pill of reversal from Qingshu College by Ling Xiao. They did not know if this was true, but since everyone was spreading this rumor, there had to be a reason for it. They wanted to get on the good side of the Phoenix Academy by dealing with Ling Xiao. If possible, They wanted to find an opportunity to kill Ling Xiao. It would be more effective. Now, the entire Phoenix Academy was very unhappy. However, there was nothing they could do. They could only watch helplessly as their market share was slowly eroded. Ever since the Heavenly Dragon Auction House stopped supplying them with medicinal herbs, they had thought of many ways to contact the nearby cities and even cities further away to send medicinal herbs over. However, distant water could not quench their immediate thirst. It would take a long time for those medicinal herbs to be transported over. In fact, it did not matter if they waited a little longer. As long as the medicinal herbs were returned, they could at least hold on to their final market share. However, the problem was that a bigger problem had appeared. A group of mysterious robbers had appeared out of nowhere and intercepted the large batch of medicinal herbs that the Phoenix Academy had spent a lot of money on. They had stolen all of them. When Phoenix Cry, Wanchong, found out about this, he was furious. However, it was useless. The robbers came and went in a hurry. Moreover, each of them had a storage ring. They disappeared quickly after stealing the herbs. Even if the Phoenix Academy rushed over, it would be too late. Most importantly, the robbers were very powerful. They had sent a Grotto Heaven Realm expert to escort the medicinal herbs, but they still managed to steal them. It was only at this moment that the Divine Phoenix Academy gradually understood that while they were scheming against others, a gigantic net was currently falling towards them. Phoenix Cry, Wanchong, had no choice but to personally escort the medicinal herbs. However, it was too late. At this moment, the Phoenix Academy's share of the medicinal pill market had shrunk to 10% in the Imperial City. They were relying on a few die-hard fans to hold on. It was called internal digestion. To the Divine Phoenix Academy, the main culprit in all of this was undoubtedly the Clear Void Academy. Therefore, during this period of time, the conflicts between the disciples of the Divine Phoenix Academy and the Clear Void Academy had become more and more frequent. On this day, Ling Xiao had just come out of the Heaven Essence Pagoda when he saw Dai Yaoling pacing back and forth anxiously. "Yaoling, why aren't you cultivating? What are you doing here?" Ling Xiao asked curiously. "Big brother Ling, I just went shopping with a few sisters. In the end, we encountered people from the Phoenix Academy who were looking for trouble." Dai Yaoling was so anxious that she was about to cry. Two of them were actually Shimin Bumi and Li Qingxiu, who were originally ranked first in Qingshu College. Two pieces of trash. Ling Xiao snorted coldly. He grabbed Dai Yaoling's hand and leaped up. A pair of black and white wings appeared on his back. After asking for the location, he flew over. Although he knew that the people from the Phoenix Academy wouldn't dare to act recklessly in broad daylight, Ling Xiao was still very worried. It wasn't easy to find a close friend. Moreover, it wasn't just a close friend. Whether it was Haim Miang Ko, Dai Yuling Lanuer, Cold Plum, or Zhao Ci, they were all friends who had gone through life and death together. Nothing could happen to anyone. On the streets of the Imperial City, Shimin Bumi revealed a sinister smile. He had always wanted to find trouble with Ling Xiao. However, for the past few days, Ling Xiao had been cultivating in the Heaven Essence Pagoda, so he never had the chance. Chapter 1001. Today, Shimin Bumi didn't meet Ling Xiao, but he met Ling Xiao's women. They were a few female disciples of Qingshu College who came to buy clothes on the street. At this time, Cold Plum's mouth was bleeding. Haim Mian Ko's clothes were in a mess, and Lan Yu was lying on the ground with a pale face. The three of them were the strongest among the girls, but they were still no match for Shimin Bumi and Li Qingxiu. What's more, Shimin Bumi and Li Qingxiu had brought a group of disciples who had joined Phoenix Academy. Among them, there was no lack of disciples from the elite class. Their cultivation was only slightly weaker than Cold Plum and Haim Miang Ko. It was already not easy for Cold Plum and Haim Miang Ko not to be completely defeated. "Haha, you two women also want to fight with me, Shimin Bumi? I used to be the top disciple of Qingshu College. My cultivation has reached the early stage of 8 desolate heaven. Who can defeat me? Shimin Bummy sneered again and again. Although he couldn't afford to offend the 10 Phoenix Sons, he could afford to offend these women. Cold Plum wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth, and her eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Haim Myung-Keo's cold face didn't lose its arrogance. The two of them stood together. Today, Ling Xiao wasn't here, so they couldn't lose. Shimin Bummy, you can't kill us today, but we'll definitely kill you in the future. Haim Myung-Keo said coldly. Other than Ling Xiao, there was no one else alive who dared to humiliate her like this. Her cultivation was not as good as Shimin Bummy's, but her cultivation speed was much faster than his. It wouldn't take long for her to surpass him. That's right. Cold Plum touched her storage ring, as if hesitating whether to use her last trump card. Back then, when she cultivated in Death Valley, it wasn't just to increase her cultivation base. Naturally, she also left because she had the ability to protect herself. Ha ha ha, I'm so scared. Aren't you guys from Qingshu College? Don't think that you can beat our Phoenix Academy just because you've gained some advantages in the elixir market. I know the ins and outs of your academy very well. Shimin Bummy laughed heartily. When the vice president of Phoenix Cry, Wanchong, comes back, Heavenly Venerable Miraculous Hand will definitely refine better elixirs and completely defeat Qingshu College. Your good luck won't last long. After becoming a dog of the Phoenix Academy, Shimin Bummy seemed to have been infected with the hostility of the Phoenix Academy. Or it could be said that he had completely torn off his disguise and revealed his true nature. I really don't know where you get your confidence from. Haim Myung-Keo shook his head. Do you think that if we can defeat you once, we can't do it again? How foolish. Are you calling me foolish? Shimin Bummy's expression became even more ferocious. Li Qingxiu, do it. Destroy the faces of these bitches. I really want to see what kind of expression Ling Xiao will have when he sees them. Ha! Big brother, do you really want to do this? That Ling Xiao isn't someone to be trifled with. The Blood Skull is the best example of that. Not to mention, he even dislocated the arms of 2 of our vice deans. Li Qingxiu was a little scared. Originally, he just wanted to beat these women to vent his anger. However, it would be too much to disfigure them. It would definitely annoy Ling Xiao. He was not afraid of Ling Xiao, but the problem was that there was someone behind Ling Xiao. What are you afraid of? If there is really an expert behind Ling Xiao, why would he deliberately hide from us? Shimin Bummy said disdainfully, I'm afraid that the 2 vice presidents got into trouble because the higher-ups of Qingshu College took action. As long as we hide in the college, what can he do? Besides, I heard from Ms. Yang Yijuan that Celestial Master Miracle Hands is developing a better elixir than the sky-reversing panacea. The only thing we lack now is the medicinal materials. As long as the medicinal materials are back, Qingshu College will definitely be completely destroyed. When the time comes for the secret compartment, we will be the first contributor. Do you want to be bullied like this all the time? Okay, I believe you. When Li Qingxiu was in Qingshu College, he had always followed Shimin Bummy. Now he was in Phoenix Academy, and it was still the same. Without Shimin Bummy, he estimated that his situation would be worse. Brothers, for our well-being, let's go. Destroy the faces of these bitches. Let's see if they dare to show off in front of us again. Li Qingxiu waved his hand and shouted. Behind him, a group of Celestial Realm warriors, more than a dozen of them, fiercely pounced on Cold Plum and the others. Looking at the beautiful figures of these girls, they even showed wretched smiles and swallowed their thirsty saliva. In the face of the ferocious warriors, Cold Plum and Haim Myung-Keo struggled to resist. Haim Myung-Keo, take Sister Lan and the others and leave first. I'll stop them. Cold Plum saw that the situation was not good. Not only were the opponents' moves indecent, but they were also extremely ruthless. They were all injured. If this continued, she was afraid that they would really be in trouble. Therefore, She did not intend to hide her trump card any longer and was going to reveal it. No, if anything happens to you, Ling Xiao will kill me. Haim, Mian-Keo shook her head and shouted loudly. At this moment, a long saber slashed at her shoulder. The person holding the saber was a warrior in his 30s. At this age, he was definitely over the age limit among the disciples of the two major academies. Although his aptitude was not very good, his long-term cultivation had allowed him to possess very dense heaven origin energy. The saber slashed down with full force. Seeing this, Cold Plum hurriedly pushed Haim Mian-Keo away. No. Cold Plum, who pushed Haim Mian-Keo away, happened to have her head under the saber. She was so frightened that she screamed. Bang! A black shadow suddenly appeared and punched the saber-wielding martial artist. This punch was obviously filled with hatred, so the power was extremely terrifying. The warrior holding the saber's head was directly blown apart like a watermelon. After falling to the ground, he was completely lifeless. Those who touch my people must die. Ling Xiao was really angry. The consequences were very serious. He had to be ruthless. Otherwise, in the future, even cats and dogs would dare to touch his people. Before coming here, he had already thought about what to do. He would kill all the people who dared to touch him. The Phoenix Academy was too busy to take care of themselves. They should not have the energy to deal with this kind of thing. Therefore, it was fine to kill them. As the black shadow kept flashing, the warriors who attacked Haim Mian-Keo and the others were all killed. Only Li Qingxiu and Shimin Bumi were left standing there. The corpses were thrown along the way. The onlookers were pale. Many of them had heard of Ling Xiao's fame. However, they were still frightened by his ruthless means today. Ignoring the gloomy faces of Li Qingxiu and Shimin Bumi, Ling Xiao turned around and supported Cold Plum. He looked at his friends and asked, "Are you all okay?" "This servant is fine. However, Sister Lan's injury is a little serious." Cold Plum's face blushed as she said shyly. Ling Xiao took out a few healing pills and gave them to Cold Plum, Haim Mian-Keo, and the others. Then he squatted down to check on Lan Yu's condition.